Welcome, brave souls, to another spine-tingling journey into the heart of California, where the sun sets over golden beaches and the Pacific whispers secrets of yesteryears. But as the night deepens, shadows lengthen, and the air grows thick with tales of the restless dead. Tonight, we delve into the eerie world of California's 25 most haunted Airbnbs places, where the living dare to stay and the dead refuse to leave. So, dim the lights, settle in, and prepare yourself for a night of ghostly encounters and spectral stories that will send shivers down your spine. Nestled in the suburban streets of Simi Valley, California, the Poltergeist House stands as both a relic of Hollywood history and a modern-day nexus for paranormal intrigue. Built in the mid-20th century, the home became famous in 1982 as the filming location for the climactic scenes of the iconic horror movie Poltergeist. For decades, the house existed quietly, blending into the neighborhood's tidy rows of homes, its cinematic fame largely forgotten by casual passersby. That changed dramatically in 2024, when a dedicated horror enthusiast purchased a property and meticulously restored it to mirror its appearance from the film, down to the smallest details of the interior. However, it soon became apparent that the house was far more than a static homage to a beloved movie. It seemed to have inherited a life of its own, a spectral energy that drew both fascination and fear from those who entered. Guests who have stayed at the Poltergeist House report experiences that defy conventional explanation. Many describe subtle, unsettling phenomena that begin almost immediately upon entering. The faint sensation of being watched, sudden drops in temperature in certain rooms, and the inexplicable feeling that the house itself is aware of their presence. One visitor recalled setting a cup of coffee on the kitchen counter, only to return moments later to find it shifted several inches, as though nudged by an unseen hand. Another recounted a chilling incident in the living room, where a set of keys appeared to levitate momentarily before clattering to the floor with a metallic jingle. These incidents, seemingly minor, accumulate to create a palpable tension that hangs in the air. A quiet reminder that the house is anything but ordinary. The bedroom, often cited as the epicenter of paranormal activity, has a particularly eerie reputation. Guests have reported hearing faint whispers when no one else is present. The voice is indistinct, yet unmistakably human. Some have awoken to find their blankets inexplicably tugged, as if invisible hands had disturbed them during the night. On one occasion, a guest described a shadowy figure standing at the foot of the bed, silent and motionless, vanishing when approached. These experiences, though unsettling, are frequently accompanied by an intense sense of curiosity, compulsion to explore and understand the house's otherworldly manifestations. The Poltergeist House also seems to have a penchant for interacting with electronic devices. Cameras left in various rooms have captured inexplicable anomalies, flickering lights, unexplained blurs, and fleeting shadows that appear to move independently of any living being. Guests attempting to use their smartphones often report sudden battery drains or unexplained glitches, while televisions and radios sometimes switch on or off without any physical interference. These electronic disturbances contribute to the house's reputation as a place where the boundaries between the natural and the supernatural are not merely blurred, but actively disregarded. The exterior of the house, while unassuming during the day, takes on an almost menacing quality after sunset. Neighbors have reported strange lights flickering behind curtained windows, despite the house being unoccupied at times. Some have heard soft, rhythmic tapping on the exterior walls or doors, as though the house itself is communicating, beckoning, or warning those nearby. A persistent fog often seems to settle around the property during the night, enhancing the surreal and unsettling atmosphere. The combination of the house's Hollywood history and its modern-day paranormal activity has made it a magnet for thrill-seekers, ghost hunters, and horror enthusiasts alike. Stories of guests encountering poltergeist-like activity are remarkably consistent. Many report objects moving without explanation, doors opening and closing on their own, and strange, cold gusts of air sweeping through enclosed rooms. A few brave visitors have even claimed to witness the spectral figure of a small child, reminiscent of the movie's central character, wandering the hallways before vanishing abruptly. While skeptics often attribute these experiences to heightened suggestion or the power of expectation, those who have stayed in the house speak of a tangible, almost sentient presence that cannot be easily dismissed. Psychologists and paranormal investigators alike note the poltergeist house as a fascinating study in human perception and fear. The house taps into a deep-seated association with cinematic horror, yet the encounters reported by guests suggest something beyond mere nostalgia or imagination. The consistency of the sightings, the physical interactions, and the emotional responses of guests point to a phenomenon that resonates with both the mind and the senses. Whether one interprets these events as supernatural or psychological, the house undeniably evokes a strong emotional response, a blend of awe, fear, and wonder. Visitors also report that the house seems to remember its cinematic past. Certain rooms trigger memories not only of the film, but of the actors who once inhabited the space, creating an uncanny sense of temporal dislocation. The blending of real and fictional history appears to amplify the paranormal activity, as if the energies of storytelling, imagination, and lingering human presence have coalesced into a spectral force unique to this property. It is this combination of Hollywood legacy and genuine unexplained phenomena that elevates the poltergeist house from a simple tourist curiosity to a truly haunted experience. Tucked away in the bustling suburbs of Fullerton, just 6 miles from the whimsical lights of Disneyland, lies an Airbnb unlike any other. Known as the Ghostly Retreat, this property offers more than a typical weekend getaway. It promises an immersive experience inspired by the supernatural charm of Disney's Haunted Mansion. On the surface, the home is a tastefully decorated property with Victorian touches and quirky details that hint at its otherworldly theme. Yet beneath the playful exterior, guests soon discover an atmosphere that teeters between eerie fascination and genuine fear. From the moment visitors step through the front door, the retreat exudes an uncanny sense of presence. It begins subtly, a sudden chill in the air, a whisper that seems to drift along the hallway, or the flicker of a light that no one switched on. These small disturbances set the tone for the evening, creating a tension that lingers long after the initial thrill of arrival. The homeowners have designed the space with theatrical precision. Antique furnishings, intricate wallpaper, and hidden nooks evoke the Victorian aesthetic, yet the uncanny energy feels alive, as though the home itself is aware of its guests' presence. Many visitors report experiencing unexplained cold spots, particularly near the parlor and hallway areas. Some describe standing in one room, only to feel a sudden, icy draft that cannot be attributed to an open window or air conditioning. The sensation often precedes other manifestations. Doors creak softly, cabinets rattle, or the faint sound of a chair scraping the floor echoes through the otherwise silent house. These events, subtle yet persistent, suggest an energy that moves independently of the living ghostly pulse embedded within the walls themselves. Phantom footsteps are among the most commonly reported phenomena at the Ghostly Retreat. Guests have recounted hearing the slow, deliberate tread of someone pacing upstairs while they sit quietly in the living room. Others describe the sound of footsteps trailing them as they walk through hallways, only to vanish abruptly when they turn to investigate. On several occasions, visitors have reported seeing shadowy figures darting across the corners of their vision, quick, indistinct movements that vanish before a closer look is possible. The presence is often described as playful, yet slightly menacing, a reminder that the house is not entirely bound by the rules of the physical world. Certain rooms of the retreat seem to attract the most activity. The parlor, with its high ceilings and ornate fireplace, is often described as a focal point for spectral energy. Guests have reported hearing disembodied voices, sometimes indistinct whispers, other times faint laughter, as if echoes of past residents or imagined visitors linger there. Mirrors placed strategically throughout the house sometimes reflect images that vanish when examined. More closely shadowy shapes, a flicker of movement, or the vague outline of a figure in Victorian attire. These glimpses leave a lasting impression, blurring the line between imagination and reality. The ghostly retreat's bedrooms are not exempt from the supernatural activity. Some guests wake to the sensation of being watched or feel the subtle tug of the bedspread, as though unseen hands have disturbed the covers. Lights may flicker, or personal items shift slightly, causing unease that is difficult to ignore. Despite these unsettling occurrences, many guests describe a strange allure, compulsion to remain in the house and continue exploring its hidden corners, drawn by the sense that there is more to uncover in the quiet, shadowed spaces. The exterior of the property contributes to the atmosphere of the retreat. At night, the Victorian-style facade takes on a spectral quality, shadows stretching across the walls in the dim light of street lamps. Guests have noted that the garden pathways seem longer than expected, or that the sound of rustling leaves carries with an unnatural rhythm. At times, faint lights appear behind curtained windows where no lamps are on, and soft knocks can be heard on doors that are securely locked. These external manifestations reinforce the feeling that the ghostly retreat exists partially in another dimension, where the living and the spectral coexist. Visitors often remark that the house has a personality of its own, a consciousness that reacts to their presence. Some feel it testing them, gauging their fear, or inviting them to acknowledge its presence. Others report moments of uncanny timing, where sounds, movements, or lights respond almost playfully to their actions, heightening the immersive, almost theatrical experience. Unlike many haunted locations that feel oppressive or dangerous, the ghostly retreat maintains an air of mischievousness, haunted playground, where the thrill of the supernatural is paired with the comfort of a curated stay. For paranormal enthusiasts, the ghostly retreat offers ample opportunity for exploration. Guests, equipped with cameras, EMF detectors, or audio recorders often capture anomalous readings or unexplained movements. Even casual visitors, without equipment, notice the subtle interactions that give the house its reputation. From the faint smell of aged wood and candle wax to the soft, unexplained knocks and whispers, every detail contributes to the sense that the home is alive with unseen activity. The combination of themed design, historical references, and genuine supernatural reports makes the ghostly retreat a unique destination. It appeals to horror fans, paranormal investigators, and thrill seekers alike, offering the rare opportunity to experience a haunted environment that is both curated and unpredictable. Each stay is a chance to encounter phenomena that may defy explanation, leaving guests with stories that linger long after they have departed. Ultimately, the ghostly retreat in Fullerton stands as a testament to the enduring allure of the supernatural. It blurs the line between imagination and reality, between history and haunting, inviting those brave enough to step inside to experience a world where ghostly illusions and inexplicable events coexist. From cold spots to phantom footsteps, from shadowy corners to fleeting figures, the house offers an immersive encounter with the unknown, a place where Disney-inspired magic and real-life hauntings intertwine to create an unforgettable experience. Nestled in the rolling hills of Amador County, California, the Haunted Historic Hangout in Jackson is a Victorian-era home steeped in history and mystery. Built in the late 1800s, this charming retreat has served many purposes over the decades. From a private residence to a gathering place for locals seeking conversation and camaraderie, its long and varied history, however, has left more than just architectural marks on the building. Guests and visitors frequently report experiences that suggest the presence of lingering spirits, turning a simple stay into an encounter with the supernatural. Upon arrival, visitors often notice an immediate shift in atmosphere. The house, with its intricate woodwork, ornate gables, and antique furnishings, exudes a warmth typical of a well-preserved Victorian home. Yet, there is also an undercurrent of something unseen. Guests frequently describe a feeling of being observed, a subtle awareness that they are not alone, even when the property appears empty. This sense of presence sets the stage for the series of unusual phenomena that many claim to witness during their stay. Footsteps in the attic are among the most common occurrences reported at the haunted historic hangout. Visitors describe hearing the rhythmic sound of someone pacing above them late at night, long after everyone has retired to the lower floors. The steps can vary in intensity, sometimes light and quick, other times heavy and deliberate, yet always insistently present. Many guests have ventured upstairs to investigate, only to find the attic empty, its dusty floorboards undisturbed. The experience leaves a lingering sense of unease, as if an invisible tenant continues to inhabit the space, bound by the history of the home. Scratching at doors and walls adds to the house's uncanny reputation. Guests have reported the sound of claws or fingernails raking against doors, particularly in the early hours of the morning. Some describe it as coming from the walls themselves, as though the house is attempting to communicate through the wooden structures. The scratching is often accompanied by sudden cold drafts that sweep through the rooms, further heightening the eerie ambience. Attempts to dismiss these sounds as the settling of an old house often fail. Even skeptics admit to feeling a palpable, directed presence in these moments, as if the past itself is reaching out. Another curious phenomenon reported by guests involves the sensation of a small animal walking across the bed. Many describe the unmistakable feeling of a cat's paws pressing against them, complete with soft weight and movement, even when no animal is present. This experience is sometimes accompanied by purring or gentle brushing sensations, leaving guests both startled and strangely comforted. Some theorize that these manifestations may be the echoes of pets that once lived in the house, their spirits intertwined with the family who inhabited it for generations. Others believe it to be the work of more mischievous, unexplained entities taking a familiar form to interact with the living. The house's rich history contributes to its supernatural ambience. Generations of families, visitors, and locals have passed through its doors, leaving impressions that may linger long after their departure. Historical records suggest that the property was a hub for social gatherings in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, hosting parties, meetings, and quiet evenings alike. The energy of these countless events, combined with personal tragedies and triumphs, may have created an invisible tapestry woven into the home's very structure. Guests often remark that the house feels alive in ways that are difficult to explain, as if it remembers the lives and emotions of those who walked its halls before them. Visually, the house evokes its own spectral tales. Shadows in the corners of rooms sometimes appear to move independently of natural light sources, and visitors have reported catching fleeting glimpses of figures in period clothing. Mirrors occasionally reflect shapes that vanish upon closer inspection, leaving a chilling sense of uncertainty. Even the furniture seems to retain traces of previous occupants, with chairs creaking softly when unoccupied and doors gently swinging open after being closed. Each element of the house contributes to an immersive experience in which the past and present coexist in unsettling harmony. Visitors who spend the night often describe the cumulative effect of these occurrences as simultaneously thrilling and unnerving. The combination of visual, auditory, and tactile phenomena creates a sense that the house is aware of their presence, responding in subtle ways that cannot be entirely explained. The attic footsteps, the scratching, and the feline sensations all contribute to an environment in which ordinary expectations of reality are challenged, making every creak and whisper a potential encounter with the unknown. The haunted historic hangout also inspires curiosity and investigation. Paranormal enthusiasts often come equipped with recording devices, EMF detectors, and cameras, hoping to capture evidence of the activity. While some attribute the experiences to the power of suggestion or the atmospheric influence of a historic home, many admit that there is an undeniable authenticity to the phenomena reported by multiple visitors. The consistency of the sightings and sensations suggests that something truly lingers within the walls, a presence both playful and persistent, bound to the history of the property itself. Ultimately, the haunted historic hangout in Jackson offers more than just a place to stay. It is a portal into the past, where the lives of former residents continue to echo through time. The footsteps in the attic, the scratching at doors, and the sensation of a spectral cat walking across the bed all serve as reminders that the house is not merely a building, but a living repository of memories, emotions, and perhaps even spirits. Guests leave with stories that linger, a sense of wonder mingled with apprehension, and the knowledge that some places retain the essence of their past occupants in ways that defy explanation. For those willing to embrace its mysteries, the Haunted Historic Hangout offers an unforgettable experience, a chance to walk the line between history and the supernatural, and to witness firsthand the echoes of lives that refuse to fade. The house stands as a testament to the idea that some places are never truly empty, and some stories never truly end. Perched on a quiet corner of San Francisco's Nob Hill, the Queen Anne Hotel is a striking example of Victorian elegance and historical charm. Built in 1890, the building originally served as the cottage school for young ladies, a finishing school where generations of young women were educated in etiquette, music, and the social graces expected of society's upper class. Over the decades, the institution evolved into a boutique hotel, preserving its ornate architecture, stained glass windows, and intricate woodwork. While the building exudes sophistication and history, it is also renowned for a far more chilling aspect, the lingering presence of spirits, most notably that of Mary Lake, the school's former headmistress. Mary Lake, a stern and meticulous woman, oversaw the school with an iron hand. She was dedicated to the moral and intellectual development of her students, but also feared and respected for her strict disciplinary methods. It is said that she passed away within the walls of the school, and her spirit never left, remaining bound to the building she once ran. Guests and staff alike report encounters with Mary, particularly in room 410, which was once her office. Sightings describe a woman in period attire, her figure often partially transparent, standing near the desk or walking silently across the room. Some guests claim to have seen her adjusting papers or gesturing as if instructing an invisible student, a spectral echo of her life's work. Visitors to the Queen Anne Hotel often describe a combination of awe and unease. The Victorian architecture and preserved interiors create an atmosphere that is at once beautiful and haunting. Ornate moldings, polished wood floors, and antique furnishings serve as a backdrop to the inexplicable phenomena reported by guests. It is common for visitors to notice subtle changes in temperature, particularly in the hallway outside room 410, where cold spots seem to appear without warning. These sudden chills are often accompanied by the sensation of a presence, an invisible weight pressing into the room or following guests as they move through the corridors. The most frequent reports of paranormal activity involve sightings of Mary Lake herself. Guests entering room 410 sometimes feel watched, only to glimpse the figure of a woman at the far end of the room. She is typically described as wearing a long, dark dress with high collar, her hair pinned neatly in a style typical of the late 19th century. Her expression is said to be calm but commanding, a reflection of her authoritative presence in life. While her appearance can be startling, most encounters are not, with Mary seemingly observing or carrying out her daily tasks in silence. Yet the impression she leaves is powerful, a palpable sense of the dedication and discipline she once embodied. In addition to visual encounters, the Queen Anne Hotel is known for auditory phenomena. Guests have reported hearing footsteps along the hallways when no one else is present, the soft rustle of skirts, or the faint creak of a desk drawer opening and closing. Occasionally, voices can be heard, stern admonishments or quiet instructions, reminiscent of a classroom setting. Some guests have even claimed that their belongings were subtly moved, as if guided by an unseen hand, reinforcing the notion that Mary Lake's spirit is both attentive and meticulous. The hotel's unique combination of beauty and paranormal activity has made it a destination for ghost hunters and enthusiasts. Investigators equipped with cameras, audio recorders, and EMF detectors frequently report unusual readings, particularly in and around room 410. Strange orbs of light captured on film, unexplained shadows, and sudden spikes in temperature are commonly cited evidence of Mary Lake's lingering presence. Despite these encounters, the Queen Anne Hotel maintains a welcoming environment, allowing guests to experience the supernatural while enjoying the comfort and elegance of a fully operational boutique hotel. The Queen Anne Hotel's haunted reputation is enhanced by the stories of former students and staff who remember Mary Lake's presence in life. Accounts of her discipline, strict rules, and unwavering commitment to education create a compelling narrative that seems to bleed into the spectral experiences reported today. It is as if the hotel itself preserves not just the physical space, but the emotional and spiritual essence of its past inhabitants. Guests often remark that the sense of history is palpable, and that the spirits within the walls are inseparable from the building's identity. Beyond room 410, other areas of the hotel exhibit subtle signs of the paranormal. Hallways occasionally echo with footsteps that vanish as quickly as they appear. Antique furnishings sometimes shift slightly between visits, and doors are reported to open and close on their own. Some guests even report a feeling of being gently guided or nudged along certain paths, as though the hotel's former headmistress is ensuring that the routines and etiquette she valued in life continue in spirit. These small, consistent occurrences contribute to the hotel's overall reputation as one of San Francisco's most intriguing haunted locations. Staying at the Queen Anne Hotel is an experience that blends history, elegance, and the supernatural. Guests often leave with a sense of connection to the past, having witnessed phenomena that are both mysterious and unforgettable. Whether it is the visual apparition of Mary Lake, the sound of phantom footsteps, or the subtle shifts of objects around the rooms, the hotel offers an immersive encounter with the echoes of its Victorian past. It is a place where the line between life and death feels thin, and where the presence of a dedicated and disciplined spirit remains undeniably strong. For those drawn to the unknown, the Queen Anne Hotel in San Francisco is more than a historic boutique hotel. It is a doorway into a bygone era, where the past lives on through the meticulous care of a headmistress who never truly left. Every shadow, whisper, and flicker of light serves as a reminder that some spirits endure, and that some histories refuse to fade quietly, ensuring that the stories of the past remain alive for those brave enough to witness them. Perched atop a hill overlooking the picturesque coastline of Capitola, California, the Rispin Mansion stands as a grand testament to the town's rich history. Built in 1921, this sprawling estate has experienced a colorful and varied life, serving as a real estate showroom, private residence, nunnery, and even a training ground for SWAT teams. Each chapter of its past seems to have left an invisible imprint, and today, the mansion is renowned not only for its architectural beauty, but also for the strange and unexplained occurrences reported by those who visit. Its ornate turrets, expansive windows, and eclectic design hint at a grandeur that is at once captivating and haunting, drawing in curious locals, historians, and paranormal enthusiasts alike. From the moment visitors approach the Rispin Mansion, there is an undeniable sense of presence. The air seems heavier here, as if history itself has settled into the walls, carrying whispers from generations past. Many guests report feeling watched upon arrival, a sensation that grows more pronounced as they explore the sprawling hallways and shadowed corners. The mansion's vast interior, filled with antique furniture, high ceilings, and intricate woodwork, provides the perfect setting for subtle, disquieting phenomena that can leave even the most skeptical visitor uneasy. Flickering lights are among the most frequently reported occurrences. Guests often describe overhead fixtures or lamps inexplicably dimming and brightening, sometimes in rapid succession, with no discernible cause. In some cases, entire rooms are suddenly plunged into semi-darkness before returning to normal, as if the mansion itself is manipulating the flow of light. These brief but startling moments create a sense of tension and anticipation, leaving visitors wondering what unseen forces may be present. Many speculate that the mansion retains echoes of its various past occupants, their energies interacting with the present in ways that manifest visually. Cold drafts are another hallmark of the Rispin Mansion's haunted reputation. Even on warm days, sudden chills sweep through certain hallways or rooms, often accompanied by the sensation of invisible movement nearby. Visitors have described walking down corridors only to feel an icy breeze brush past them, or standing in a room and sensing a weightless presence moving across the floor. These temperature shifts are unpredictable and often localized, further enhancing the eerie atmosphere. Some suggest these manifestations may be residual energy from the mansion's many past uses, from the disciplined routines of nuns to the intense drills of SWAT teams. The sensation of being watched is perhaps the most persistent phenomenon reported at the mansion. Guests frequently feel eyes upon them in otherwise empty rooms, a pressure that seems to follow them from the grand entrance to the smallest chambers. In some instances, visitors glance toward the source of their unease, only to find nothing, yet the feeling persists, subtle but unnerving. Mirrors, polished wood surfaces, and reflective windows occasionally amplify this sensation, giving fleeting glimpses of shapes or shadows that vanish upon closer inspection. These experiences leave a lasting impression, reinforcing the notion that the mansion's history is not confined to memory alone. It is alive in the very air. Footsteps and unexplained sounds often accompany the visual and tactile phenomena. Some visitors have reported hearing slow, deliberate footsteps echoing across the hardwood floors of empty rooms, or the soft scraping of furniture being moved when no one is present. Other accounts describe faint whispers or unintelligible murmurs drifting through the corridors, audible enough to spark curiosity and fear, but never clearly understood. These auditory manifestations contribute to the mansion's reputation as a place where the boundaries between past and present, living and spectral, are permeable and unpredictable. The mansion's eclectic past adds depth to its supernatural reputation. As a real estate showroom, it was once filled with potential buyers and the buzz of early 20th century optimism. Its time as a private residence brought domestic energy, laughter, and the occasional sorrow, all of which may linger as residual impressions. When converted into a nunnery, the space saw quiet reflection, solemn prayer, and disciplined routines, layering the mansion with spiritual undertones. Even its use as a SWAT training ground introduced an intensity and sense of controlled chaos that some believed still resonates within the walls. Each iteration of occupancy seems to have contributed to a collective energy, a tapestry of human experience that continues to interact with the present. Guests exploring the Rispin Mansion often comment on the house's ability to evoke emotion and imagination. The combination of architectural grandeur, historical significance, and subtle paranormal phenomena creates an immersive experience in which the past feels tangible. Some describe being drawn to particular rooms without knowing why, or feeling compelled to linger in spaces where the air is thick with unseen presence. Even skeptics often acknowledge that the mansion exerts a power beyond mere aesthetics, a force that engages both the senses and the psyche. Despite its haunted reputation, the Rispin Mansion remains a beloved landmark. Visitors are drawn to its history, its architectural beauty, and the thrill of experiencing a location where the unexplained is part of everyday life. Paranormal investigators often bring equipment to capture evidence of unusual activity, from EMF spikes to photographic anomalies. Many report consistent results, reinforcing the mansion's status as one of California's more intriguing haunted sites. The combination of visual, auditory, and tactile manifestations provides a rich canvas for both curiosity and fear, making every visit an unforgettable encounter. Ultimately, the Rispin Mansion stands as a living monument to Capitola's layered history. Its flickering lights, cold drafts, and persistent sensations of being watched serve as reminders that some spaces retain the memory of those who once walked within them. Visitors leave with stories of fleeting shadows, whispered sounds, and the subtle yet undeniable feeling that the past continues to breathe alongside the present. For those willing to explore its halls, the mansion offers an experience that is as thrilling as it is chilling, a place where history, mystery, and the supernatural converge into a hauntingly unforgettable visit. Nestled along the banks of the Napa River, the Napa River Inn is a historic gem in the heart of California's wine country. Housed within the restored Napa Mill, a building dating back to 1884. The inn exudes a blend of rustic charm and Victorian elegance. Its wooden beams, exposed brick, and antique furnishings tell a story of over a century of activity, commerce, and life along the river. Yet beyond its architectural beauty and riverside appeal, the inn is steeped in a darker history, one that continues to leave its mark on guests and staff. Tales of ghostly activity, mysterious sounds, and inexplicable sensations have long surrounded the property, making it a favorite destination for both history enthusiasts and paranormal seekers. The most well-known spirit associated with the Napa River Inn is that of Captain Albert Hatt, Jr., a prominent figure in the city's early history. Captain Hatt, a warehouse operator and businessman. Since that time, numerous visitors have claimed to feel his presence lingering within the inn's walls. Guests often report a sense of being observed, and intangible weights pressing upon them, particularly in the areas that once served as storage and shipping spaces for the mill's operations. Phantom footsteps are a common occurrence, reported by those staying at the inn. Guests describe hearing the unmistakable sound of someone walking along the wooden floors late at night, pacing deliberately through empty hallways. The steps are often rhythmic, echoing as if on a well-worn path. Yet when visitors investigate, the corridors are completely vacant. This phenomenon is particularly prevalent near the rooms adjacent to the old warehouse, where Captain Hatt's life ended, suggesting that his spirit may still roam the spaces he once occupied, creating a consistent pattern that reinforces the inn's reputation as haunted. Doors that creak open or close on their own add another layer of mystery. Guests have recounted waking to find a door slightly ajar, despite having securely locked it before bed, or hearing the gentle but insistent squeak of hinges in the dead of night. Some believe these events are a sign of restless spirits moving about, while others suggest that the building itself, with its age and wooden framework, may amplify the effect of natural settling. Yet even skeptics admit that the timing and frequency of these occurrences often defy conventional explanation, particularly when they coincide with the feeling of being watched or followed. Cold spots and sudden changes in temperature are also frequently noted. In some rooms, visitors experience inexplicable chills, even on warm days, that seem localized and impossible to attribute to drafts or air conditioning. These cold spots are often accompanied by the sensation of a presence nearby, an invisible observer, or a spirit lingering just beyond the edge of perception. Many guests report that these moments are fleeting, yet intense, leaving a lingering sense of unease that colors their entire stay. The inn's historic charm contributes to the haunting ambience. Antique furnishings, exposed beams, and brick walls provide a backdrop for both comfort and subtle terror. Shadows cast by lamps and natural light can appear to shift unexpectedly, forming shapes that vanish upon closer inspection. Some visitors claim to see fleeting figures at the edge of their vision, indistinct but undeniably human in form. Mirrors and reflective surfaces occasionally seem to catch glimpses of movement when no one is present, further heightening the eerie atmosphere. Auditory phenomena are not limited to footsteps and doors. Guests have reported faint murmurs, whispers, and occasional low groans emanating from empty rooms. These sounds often occur in areas with historical significance, such as the old warehouse and the long hallways leading to guest rooms. The combination of audio, visual, and tactile sensations creates an immersive experience that many describe as both unsettling and fascinating. The inn becomes more than a place to stay. It transforms into a living museum of past events, memories, and lingering spirits. The story of Captain Hatt is often cited as a focal point for these experiences, but the inn's long history means that other energies may also be present. Over its more than 130 years of existence, the Napa Mill has witnessed a variety of human activity, from bustling commerce to private residences, each leaving subtle traces in the building. Guests sometimes report a general sense of unease that cannot be linked to any one event, as if the collective energy of the inn's past inhabitants remains embedded in its walls. Paranormal investigators have long been drawn to the Napa River in capturing video, audio, and thermal images in hopes of documenting unexplained activity. Many claim to have recorded anomalies, shadows moving independently, disembodied voices, and sudden drops in temperature that correspond to areas where guests have reported experiences for decades. These findings, combined with personal testimonies, have cemented the inn's status as one of California's most intriguing haunted locations, blending history, architecture, and the supernatural into a compelling narrative. Staying at the Napa River Inn is an experience that intertwines comfort, history, and mystery. Guests are encouraged to appreciate the building's historical significance, while also remaining open to the possibility that its past residents have never truly left. The creak of a floorboard, the flicker of a light, or the sudden chill of a hallway may be nothing more than the quirks of an old building, or they may be the whispers of Captain Albert Head Jr., continuing to wander the halls of the inn he once knew so well. For those willing to embrace the unknown, the Napa River Inn offers a rare glimpse into a place where the past is never truly gone. Every sound, shadow, and chill serves as a reminder that some histories linger, and some spirits remain, waiting to be acknowledged by those who dare to walk among them. It is a destination where comfort and eeriness coexist, where the beauty of wine country meets the haunting echoes of a tragic past, and where the stories of the departed continue to unfold for all who enter. Perched along the rugged coastline of Albion, California, the Finsalden Inn stands as a striking reminder of the area's storied past. Originally a Wells Fargo stagecoach stop in the mid-19th century, this historic building has served travelers for over 150 years, offering shelter, sustenance, and a place to rest along the remote Northern California coast. Today, the inn operates as a bed and breakfast, attracting visitors with its panoramic ocean views, antique charm, and, for those attuned to the unseen, a reputation for the supernatural. The combination of history, isolation, and lingering energy has made the Finsalden Inn a hotspot for ghost enthusiasts and curious travelers seeking a brush with the otherworldly. Guests often describe a palpable sense of history the moment they step through the inn's doors. The building's original architecture has been carefully preserved. Exposed wooden beams, vintage furnishings, and weathered floorboards evoke a bygone era. But alongside this historic charm, visitors report experiences that defy explanation. Many speak of cold spots that appear abruptly in otherwise warm rooms, sending shivers down the spine and leaving an uneasy awareness of something unseen nearby. These chills are often localized, sometimes felt in hallways or corners where the building's architecture alone cannot account for them. Unexplained noises are another frequent phenomenon at the Finsalden Inn. Guests have recounted hearing the distant rumble of wheels along hallways, reminiscent of the stagecoach days, even when no vehicles are nearby. Footsteps echo across wooden floors, pacing slowly or sometimes racing before abruptly stopping, leaving no trace of the source. Doors and cabinets occasionally creak open or close on their own, while objects are sometimes found in different positions than when they were last seen. These auditory disturbances contribute to an atmosphere of suspense, where the line between past and present seems to blur, and the spirit of the inn's early days feels palpable. The sensation of being watched is perhaps the most commonly reported experience. Guests often feel eyes upon them in empty rooms or hallways, a subtle pressure that lingers even when no one is present. Some describe glimpsing fleeting shadows at the edge of their vision, only to have them vanish when looked at directly. Mirrors and reflective surfaces sometimes reveal indistinct shapes, giving the impression of another presence just out of reach. Visitors often leave with the unsettling knowledge that the building retains memories of its former occupants, and that some of these echoes are far from dormant. The Finsalden Inn's location adds to its haunting ambience. Situated on the cliffs overlooking the Pacific Ocean, the inn is surrounded by dense redwoods and misty coastal landscapes. At night, The sound of waves crashing against the rocks mixes with the occasional groan of the old building, creating an auditory backdrop that amplifies the supernatural sensations reported by guests. The isolation of the inn, far removed from the bustling towns below, allows these subtle occurrences to take on a heightened intensity, leaving visitors both captivated and unnerved. Many paranormal enthusiasts are drawn to the inn, specifically because of its history as a stagecoach stop. During the mid-1800s, travelers, mail carriers, and merchants would pass through, often encountering hardship and danger along the remote Northern California trails. Some researchers believe that the energy left behind by these individuals, both their struggles and fleeting moments of rest, may still linger in the building, manifesting as cold spots, sounds, or shadows. The inn's long and varied history as a hub for human activity makes it a prime location for residual hauntings, where past events replay subtly for those who are sensitive to them. In addition to visual and auditory phenomena, guests occasionally report more tactile experiences. Some have felt light touches on their shoulders or arms when no one else is present, while others report the sensation of being gently guided through corridors. These subtle interactions suggest that the spirits inhabiting the inn are not hostile but rather attentive, perhaps reenacting routines from their time in life or lingering near visitors who stir their memories. The Fensalden Inn's reputation has made it a favored destination for ghost hunters and curious travelers alike. Investigators equipped with cameras, EMF detectors, and audio recording devices often report unusual readings, particularly in areas corresponding to the oldest sections of the building. Shadows captured in photographs, unexplained temperature fluctuations, and faint, disembodied sounds all reinforce the notion that the inn is more than just a historic structure. It is a living repository of past energies, where history and the supernatural coexist. Despite its eerie reputation, the inn remains warm and welcoming, offering comfortable accommodations and spectacular coastal views. Guests are encouraged to embrace both the beauty and the mystery of the location, knowing that some aspects of the Fensalden Inn's history may never fully reveal themselves. Whether one experiences subtle chills, fleeting shadows, or the rhythmic echoes of phantom footsteps, every stay provides a unique encounter with the lingering spirit of the past. The Fensalden Inn stands as a testament to Albion's history and the enduring presence of the human spirit. Its walls echo with stories from the stagecoach era, while the atmosphere hints at mysteries that remain unsolved. For those willing to explore its hallways, observe its antique furnishings, and listen closely to the whispers carried by the ocean breeze, the inn offers an immersive experience where history, beauty, and the supernatural intertwine, leaving an unforgettable impression on all who enter. Perched in a quiet San Francisco neighborhood, the Chambers Mansion stands as a stunning example of Queen Anne Victorian architecture. Built in 1887, the mansion's intricate woodwork, ornate turrets, and sweeping staircases evoke a bygone era of elegance and sophistication. Yet beyond its architectural beauty, the Chambers Mansion has long held a reputation for the supernatural. Visitors and paranormal investigators alike have reported a range of unsettling phenomena, from unexplained footsteps to doors opening and closing on their own, making it one of San Francisco's most intriguing haunted locations. The mansion's history is layered with events that seem to have left a lingering mark on its atmosphere. Originally constructed for a wealthy family, the house witnessed both the joys and tragedies of domestic life in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Over the years, it has changed hands several times, serving as a private residence, boarding house, and even a venue for local events. Each of these eras has contributed to the mansion's energy, layering the present with echoes of the past. Guests often remark that the house feels alive, as if it is simultaneously observing them while replaying fragments of its history. One of the most commonly reported phenomena at the Chambers Mansion is the sound of footsteps. Visitors frequently hear slow, deliberate steps echoing across the wooden floors of empty hallways or ascending the grand staircase. The footsteps are often rhythmic, moving from room to room with a purpose. Yet when investigated, no one is present, Some have described hearing multiple sets of footsteps at once, suggesting the presence of several unseen occupants. These auditory experiences are particularly intense at night, when the mansion's shadows deepen and the ambient sounds of the city fade, leaving the creaks and echoes of the house amplified. Doors are another source of mysterious activity. Guests often report doors swinging open or closing by themselves, sometimes with a force that suggests a tangible presence. Cabinets, closets, and even drawers occasionally move without explanation. And in some cases, lights flicker in conjunction with these movements. While the mansion's age and wooden construction could account for some creaking or settling, the timing and frequency of these occurrences often defy logical explanation. Many visitors feel a direct correlation between these disturbances and the sensation that someone or something is watching them. Cold spots and sudden drops in temperature are also frequently noted by those staying in the mansion. Certain rooms or corridors can feel inexplicably icy, even on warm days, leaving guests shivering or seeking explanations. These localized chills often coincide with other phenomena, such as the sound of footsteps or fleeting shadows, intensifying the sense that the house itself is a living entity. Some visitors report the chills accompanied by a subtle pressure on their shoulders or a brushing sensation, as if an unseen presence is nearby. These tactile experiences, combined with the visual and auditory disturbances, contribute to an immersive and often disconcerting environment. The mansion's dark history only deepens the eerie atmosphere. Over its long existence, it has witnessed both personal tragedies and mysterious events. Stories of family disputes, sudden deaths, and unexplained illnesses have been passed down through the years, and many believe that these emotional imprints remain embedded in the building's walls. Paranormal investigators speculate that the mansion harbors residual energy, echoes of intense emotions, and traumatic events that occasionally manifest for sensitive visitors. Whether one believes in ghosts or not, the mansion exudes an undeniable presence that captures attention and curiosity alike. Sightings of shadowy figures have also been reported. Guests describe glimpsing dark forms at the edge of their visions, sometimes in hallways, other times near windows or doorways. These apparitions are often fleeting, vanishing when looked at directly, yet their brief appearance leaves a lasting impression. Some visitors claim to see a figure standing at the top of the grand staircase, silently observing, only to find the space empty moments later. Mirrors and reflective surfaces occasionally catch glimpses of these forms, further reinforcing the sense of a lingering presence. Auditory phenomena extend beyond footsteps and door sounds. Whispered voices, soft murmurs, and occasional low groans have been reported in multiple areas of the mansion. Guests often describe the voices as unintelligible but distinct, echoing through corridors or drifting from rooms that appear empty. These sounds, combined with the mansion's shadowed corners and historic architecture, create an atmosphere of suspense and tension that leaves even the most skeptical visitor uneasy. Paranormal investigators are drawn to the Chambers Mansion for its consistent activity and rich history. Equipped with cameras, EMF detectors, and audio recording devices, many have documented anomalies that defy explanation. Sudden temperature shifts, unexplained shadow movements, and faint, disembodied voices appear to corroborate the accounts of guests over the years. The mansion's blend of Victorian elegance, historical significance, and supernatural phenomena makes it a prime location for those seeking both a haunted experience and a glimpse into Hans Cisco's past. Nestled in the heart of Old Town San Diego, the Whaley House stands as a living relic of history and a hub of the supernatural. Built in 1857 by Thomas Whaley, this Victorian-style home originally served as a family residence but quickly became much more: general store, a courtroom, and even a theater. Over the decades, it has witnessed both prosperity and tragedy, and today it is preserved as a museum. Visitors, however, come not just to glimpse the past, but to encounter the eerie presence that has earned the Whaley House its reputation as the most haunted home in California. The Whaley family themselves experienced a series of tragic events that seem to have left an imprint on the house. Several children died young, and Thomas Whaley's wife, Anna, endured numerous hardships. The weight of these misfortunes, combined with the home's public functions, seems to have created an energy that lingers in the hallways, staircases, and rooms. Guests often report an unsettling sensation of being watched, as though the spirits of former inhabitants remain attentive, their stories woven into the very walls. Footsteps are among the most commonly reported paranormal phenomena. Visitors frequently hear measured, deliberate steps echoing along hardwood floors and hallways, even when the building is empty. These sounds sometimes follow them from room to room, fading as mysteriously as they appear. Some guests describe hurried footsteps, as if the invisible presence is replaying a moment of urgency from decades past. Others feel the vibrations of the floorboards under phantom weight, a tactile reminder that the house carries echoes of the lives it once sheltered. Doors and cabinets seem to have a life of their own. Many visitors recount doors opening or closing without warning, sometimes accompanied by the faint creak of hinges. Drawers and cupboards may shift slightly, giving the impression that unseen hands are moving through the house. While the age of the building can account for some noises, the timing and specificity of these movements often defy explanation, leaving guests to wonder whether the house itself is communicating with them. The sensation of being watched is another hallmark of the Whaley House experience. Guests describe feeling a presence in the room, sometimes accompanied by a sudden chill or the brush of an unseen hand. Certain areas, particularly the bedrooms and hallways associated with the family's personal tragedies, seem to amplify this sensation. Visitors report that even when standing alone, they feel eyes on them, an invisible awareness that is both captivating and unsettling. Visual phenomena are frequently reported as well. Apparitions have been sighted in multiple rooms, often appearing as shadowy figures that vanish when approached. Some claim to have glimpsed Thomas Whaley standing solemnly in a hallway, while others report fleeting glimpses of Anna Whaley or their children. These sightings, paired with the auditory and tactile experiences, create a multi-sensory encounter that leaves a lasting impression on those who step inside. Paranormal investigators are drawn to the Whaley House for its rich history and the consistency of reported activity. Using cameras, thermal imaging, and audio recorders, many have captured anomalies such as shadowy figures, sudden drops in temperature, and EVP recordings of whispers and voices. These findings lend credibility to decades of visitor accounts, cementing the house's status as one of California's premier haunted locations. Despite the eerie reputation, the Whaley House remains a popular destination for both tourists and ghost hunters. Its preserved architecture, period furnishings, and detailed historical exhibits allow visitors to experience 19th-century life while encountering a chilling, supernatural presence. The combination of history, tragedy, and unexplained phenomena makes the Whaley House a unique and compelling location, offering a rare opportunity to step into a place where the past is never truly gone. For those willing to explore its hallways and rooms, the Whaley House offers an unforgettable experience. Every creak of the floorboards, flicker of a light, and whisper in the air serves as a reminder that the spirits of the past may still linger. The house is not just a monument to history, it's a living testament to the mysterious and the unexplained, ensuring that its reputation as California's most haunted home endures for generations of visitors to come. Moored permanently in Long Beach, California, the Queen Mary stands as an enduring symbol of luxury, history, and the uncanny. Launched in 1934, this grand ocean liner once carried passengers across the Atlantic in opulent style, boasting lavish dining rooms, elegant staterooms, and sweeping decks that made it the crown jewel of maritime travel. During World War II, the Queen Mary was repurposed as a troop ship, transporting thousands of soldiers across dangerous waters, and later returned to civilian service. Today, the ship serves as a floating hotel, museum, and event venue, drawing visitors fascinated not only by its historical significance, but also by its enduring reputation as one of the most haunted locations in California. The Queen Mary's haunted reputation is rooted in its long and storied history. The ship witnessed both the glamour of high society and the tragedies that accompanied its operation. During its wartime service, accidents and fatalities occurred among the crew. While in peacetime, passengers sometimes met untimely ends on board. Stories of drownings, falls, and mysterious deaths have been linked to the ship's various decks, cabins, and hallways, and many believe that the spirits of those who passed still linger among the corridors and cabins. These events have created an atmosphere thick with residual energy, making the Queen Mary a hotspot for paranormal enthusiasts and curious travelers alike. One of the most commonly reported phenomena on the ship is the sound of disembodied voices. Guests often describe hearing conversations in empty hallways or rooms, as if the ship itself is replaying fragments of its past. The voices are sometimes indistinct murmurs, other times distinct phrases calling out to passengers or crew. Many visitors have reported hearing their names whispered softly in otherwise silent areas, leaving them with the unsettling sensation that someone or something is nearby, observing them. These auditory experiences are particularly potent during the late hours, when the hum of the city fades and the Queen Mary's interior echoes with its own history. Footsteps are another frequent occurrence. Guests and staff have reported hearing measured, deliberate steps along hallways, staircases, and decks, even when no one else is present. Sometimes the footsteps follow them, stopping suddenly or fading as if the invisible walker has vanished. The sounds of hurried or panicked steps have also been reported, suggesting moments of past urgency, frozen in time. These experiences are often paired with other unexplained phenomena, amplifying the sense that the ship is alive with the memories of those who once traveled or worked aboard it. Physical sensations are also a hallmark of the Queen Mary's paranormal activity. Visitors have described feeling light touches on their shoulders or arms when no one is nearby, sudden chills in otherwise warm areas, or the feeling of being gently guided down a hallway. Some report objects moving slightly or shifting positions, while others have seen doors open or close by themselves. The combination of tactile, visual, and auditory phenomena creates a multidimensional experience that leaves many guests both fascinated and unnerved. Certain areas of the ship are particularly notorious for supernatural encounters. The engine room, once bustling with the sounds of machinery, is now frequently cited as a site of cold spots, disembodied voices, and strange, shadowy figures. Breathtaking, infamous for a tragic death that occurred decades ago, is said to be haunted by its former occupant, with guests reporting sudden drops in temperature and glimpses of a figure seated on the bed. The first-class swimming pool, once a lively social hub, has also produced unexplained sounds and fleeting apparitions, particularly during evening hours when the pool is empty and the ship's ambient noises are minimal. Paranormal investigators have long been drawn to the Queen Mary, equipping themselves with cameras, thermal imaging devices, and audio recorders in an effort to document activity. Many have reported anomalies consistent with guest accounts, shadowy figures caught on video, sudden temperature fluctuations, and EVP's electronic voice phenomena, capturing whispered phrases that cannot be explained by the living. These documented occurrences reinforce the ship's reputation as a place where history and the supernatural coexist. The Queen Mary's allure is not limited to ghost hunters. Tourists, historians, and curious travelers flock to the ship for its grandeur, dining, and events, often discovering the haunted stories as an added layer of intrigue. Evening tours, ghost hunts, and special paranormal events allow guests to explore the ship's darker corners, experiencing firsthand the same hallways and cabins that are said to hold echoes of the past. Even for those skeptical of ghosts, the atmosphere of the ship, its creaking decks, echoing corridors, and dramatic history creates an immersive experience where imagination and reality intertwine. Despite the eerie activity, the Queen Mary continues to operate as a hotel and museum, preserving its historical and cultural significance while embracing its supernatural reputation. The combination of maritime history, architectural splendor, and unexplained phenomena makes it a unique destination, one where visitors can immerse themselves in both the elegance of the past and the mysteries that linger in its corridors. Each creak, whisper, or shadow serves as a reminder that the ship carries more than just memories of its passengers. It carries echoes of those who may never have left. For those willing to explore its decks and cabins, the Queen Mary offers an experience that transcends the ordinary. Whether hearing footsteps in the night, sensing unseen touches, or glimpsing fleeting apparitions, guests are invited into a world where the past remains ever present, and the line between history and the supernatural blurs. The ship's rich legacy and chilling atmosphere make it a compelling destination for anyone seeking a truly haunting encounter, proving that even in modern Long Beach, the ghosts of the Queen Mary's storied past continue to sail among us. Tucked away in a quiet Los Angeles neighborhood, the haunted Victorian stands as a striking reminder of the city's rich architectural history and its lingering mysteries. With ornate gables, intricate woodwork, and stained glass windows that catch the sunlight in vivid patterns, the home reflects the elegance and craftsmanship of late 19th century design. Yet behind its restored beauty lies a reputation that draws thrill-seekers, paranormal enthusiasts, and curious travelers alike. The home is rumored to be haunted by the spirits of its former inhabitants, their presence woven into the very fabric of the house. The origins of the haunting date back to the home's early years. Built in the 1880s by a prominent family, the Victorian witnessed decades of domestic life, filled with both joy and tragedy. Historical records suggest that several untimely deaths occurred within the house, including the passing of children and the sudden demise of a family patriarch. Over time, these events seemed to leave an imprint on the home, manifesting as unexplained phenomena reported by those who have stayed or visited. Many believe that the house retains echoes of these past lives, making every corner of the Victorian imbued with history and an eerie, persistent energy. One of the most frequently reported occurrences is the sound of footsteps. Visitors have recounted hearing measured, deliberate steps on hardwood floors when no one else is present. The sounds often traverse hallways and staircases, sometimes following guests as they move from room to room, then vanishing suddenly, leaving an unsettling silence. These footsteps are often described as purposeful, almost as if the unseen inhabitants are performing familiar daily routines, replaying fragments of their former lives. The sensation is so vivid for some that they swear they can feel the presence accompanying the sounds. A subtle awareness that they are not truly alone in the home. Doors are another source of supernatural activity. Guests frequently report doors opening and closing on their own, sometimes with a gentle creak, other times with a startling swing that startles those nearby. Cabinets, drawers, and even light fixtures occasionally move or flicker unexpectedly, amplifying the feeling that the house is alive. While the age of the Victorian could explain some of these noises, the frequency, timing, and intensity often defy logic. Many visitors describe the experience as a dialogue with the past, the home communicating in whispers of motion and sound. The sensation of being watched is another common phenomenon. Guests often feel a presence just beyond the periphery of their vision, a silent observer whose gaze is impossible to locate. This feeling is sometimes accompanied by subtle tactile experiences, a brush against the shoulder, a light pressure on the back, or the sudden chill of a cold spot in an otherwise warm room. Certain areas of the home, particularly bedrooms and hallways where family members historically spent time, are more prone to these experiences. The effect is unnerving, yet it seems to be tied to the home's history, a reminder that the past refuses to be forgotten. Sightings of shadowy figures have also been reported. Visitors often glimpse fleeting forms at the edges of their vision, dark shapes that vanish when looked at directly. Some claim to see fully formed figures resembling the home's original residents, standing in hallways or near staircases, only to disappear when approached. Mirrors and reflective surfaces occasionally catch these apparitions, creating a sense that the Victorian is inhabited by more than just memories. These visual phenomena, paired with the sounds and sensations, give the home a multidimensional atmosphere of intrigue and suspense. Auditory anomalies extend beyond footsteps and door movements. Whispered voices, faint laughter, and the sounds of objects being moved are frequently reported. Guests have described hearing murmured conversations that cannot be understood, as if the voices are echoes of past interactions. The combination of sounds, shadows, and sensations creates an immersive, almost theatrical experience, leaving visitors with a heightened awareness of the home's history and the spirits that may linger. The haunted Victorian has also attracted paranormal investigators who document the activity with cameras, audio equipment, and thermal imaging devices. Many have captured anomalies consistent with visitor accounts, shadowy figures, temperature drops, and electronic voice phenomena (EVPs), recording disembodied whispers. These findings reinforce the home's reputation as a site where historical events and unexplained occurrences intersect. The house's blend of period charm, architectural detail, and paranormal activity makes it an ideal location for those seeking both a historical and supernatural experience. Despite its reputation, the Victorian home continues to welcome visitors. Its restoration preserves the intricate woodwork, stained glass, and antique furnishings, offering a glimpse into Los Angeles' past. Guests often remark on the tension between the home's beauty and its eerie atmosphere, finding the juxtaposition thrilling and immersive. For those with an interest in history, architecture, or the paranormal, the Haunted Victorian offers a rare opportunity to experience a house where the past feels alive and the unexplained remains ever present. Every creak, flicker, and whisper in the Haunted Victorian serves as a reminder that some histories cannot be buried. The combination of elegant architecture, tragic pasts, and paranormal phenomena makes the house a compelling destination, drawing visitors eager to explore its mysteries. Whether hearing footsteps on empty floors, sensing unseen presences, or glimpsing fleeting figures, guests are invited to step into a world where the past and present intertwine, and the supernatural is an inseparable part of the home's enduring charm. In Anaheim, California, there is a residence that blurs the line between fiction and reality, drawing both curious travelers and devoted paranormal enthusiasts. Known locally as the Haunted Mansion, this Airbnb was designed with inspiration from Disney's famous attraction of the same name. But while guests may initially come expecting only theatrical scares and clever themes, many leave with experiences that feel far too real. Reports of phantom footsteps, sudden cold spots, and the unmistakable sensation of being watched have turned this property into something more than a themed vacation rental. It has become a destination for those seeking an authentic brush with the supernatural. From the moment guests approach the mansion, its eerie ambience is unmistakable. The architecture itself leans heavily into the late Victorian Gothic style, with wrought iron railings, arched windows, and looming gables that seem to cast shadows even on bright days. Gas lamp-style lanterns flicker on the exterior, and the grounds are dotted with statues and stone markers that give the impression of a small graveyard surrounding the home. For many, these details feel like part of the immersive design, but some visitors claim the sense of unease begins before they ever set foot inside, describing feelings of being observed from the upper windows or glimpsing shadowy figures moving across the property's balconies. Inside, the mansion is both lavish and unnerving. Antique furnishings fill every room, with velvet curtains, heavy chandeliers, and ornate mirrors that give the space an air of timelessness. Themed, reminiscent of Disney's Haunted Mansion grim portraits, flickering candles, and ghostly trinkets adds a playful edge, but guests quickly note that the atmosphere goes far beyond simple theatrics. Some report hearing the sound of a woman's laughter echoing faintly through the halls, even when no one else is present. Others mention footsteps pacing across the upper floor during the night, only to discover the rooms are empty upon investigation. One of the most frequently reported occurrences is the sensation of cold spots. Guests describe walking into certain areas of the house and suddenly being enveloped in an icy chill, despite the Southern California heat outside. These cold patches are often accompanied by a prickling feeling on the skin or the sense that someone invisible is standing nearby. Some who have stayed in the master bedroom recount being awakened in the middle of the night by a sudden temperature drop, followed by the distinct impression of someone leaning over the bed. A few even claim to have felt the brush of an unseen hand against their arm or face. The mirrors within the mansion are another source of unsettling reports. Several visitors have claimed to see fleeting reflections of figures that vanish when they turn around. A particularly chilling story comes from a couple who were staying in one of the guest bedrooms. While brushing her hair in front of the mirror, the woman claimed to see a man in old-fashioned clothing standing directly behind her. When she spun around, the room was empty, but the impression of his figure in the mirror lingered for several seconds before fading away. Some paranormal investigators who have explored the mansion suggest that the property may have absorbed more than just inspiration from Disney's iconic ride. They believe the combination of Victorian architecture, antique furnishings, and decades-old materials may have created the perfect environment for spirits to linger. Others theorize that guests themselves, primed by the house's eerie design and history, become more sensitive to the paranormal, essentially opening themselves to experiences they might otherwise dismiss. Regardless of the cause, the consistency of the report's phantom sounds, cold spots, shadowy figures suggests that something genuine may be at play. One of the most unnerving aspects of the mansion is its unpredictability. Some guests report nothing unusual during their stay, enjoying the themed environment as intended. Others, however, experience such intense paranormal activity that they cut their visit short. In one instance, a group of friends claimed that their night was disrupted by loud banging on the walls, footsteps running down the hallway, and a door slamming shut with such force that a picture frame fell to the floor. Shaken, they left in the early morning hours, vowing never to return. Yet, despite perhaps because of these eerie encounters, the haunted mansion remains a popular destination for ghost hunters. It offers a rare chance to explore a space that blends playful illusion with what many believe is authentic paranormal energy. The mansion has hosted numerous investigations, with teams using EVP recorders, thermal cameras, and motion sensors to try and capture evidence of the supernatural. Some of these sessions have yielded chilling results, including disembodied voices captured on tape and unexplained figures appearing in photographs. What makes the Anaheim Haunted Mansion so compelling is the ambiguity of its hauntings. It straddles the line between performance and reality, illusion and truth. Visitors arrive expecting a staged encounter with the supernatural, only to find themselves questioning what is real and what is imagined. The mansion thrives in this liminal space, offering both a theatrical experience and, for some, a genuine brush with the unknown. For those seeking more than just a night's lodging, this house provides an unforgettable stay. It is a place where the line between Disneyland fantasy and authentic haunting dissolves, leaving guests to wonder whether the whispers in the halls are cleverly designed sound effects or something else entirely. Some leave with nothing more than fond memories of an immersive experience, while others depart with stories of encounters they will never forget. The haunted mansion in Anaheim may have been inspired by fiction, but for many who cross its threshold, the chills they experience are all too real. With each new report of phantom footsteps, icy chills, or ghostly apparitions, its reputation grows, cementing it as one of California's most fascinating and mysterious haunted destinations. It is more than just a themed Airbnb. It's a stage where the supernatural and the imagined intertwine, and where those brave enough to enter may find themselves face to face with the unknown. In the coastal city of Santa Cruz, where mist often rolls in from the Pacific and settles along the cliffs, there stands a small yet strikingly beautiful cottage that has earned a reputation far darker than its quaint exterior would suggest. Known simply as the Haunted Cottage, this charming home carries an unsettling aura that has drawn countless curious visitors and paranormal investigators. Its flower-lined path and Victorian trim may give the illusion of warmth and nostalgia, but those who have stepped inside often describe an experience that chills them to their very core. The cottage dates back to the late 1800s, when Santa Cruz was still developing as both a fishing town and a seaside retreat. Built by a local family with ties to the shipping industry, the house became a generational home, passed down through relatives who each added their own touches over the decades. Yet alongside its story of family and tradition runs a much darker history, one filled with whispered tragedies, untimely deaths, and unexplained misfortune. Local legend tells of the first tragedy in the cottage, the drowning of the family's eldest daughter. She was said to have been playing near the cliffs when she slipped and fell into the cold surf below. Her body was never recovered, and grief consumed the family. Shortly after, neighbors began reporting strange activity around the cottage shadows, moving behind windows when no one was home, flickering lanterns in rooms left unlit, and the sound of a young girl's laughter drifting across the yard in the dead of night. As years passed, other misfortunes befell the home. A later owner, a widowed schoolteacher, reportedly died mysteriously in her sleep inside the upstairs bedroom. Visitors today claim that this room is one of the most active areas of the house. Many have reported waking in the middle of the night to see a shadowy figure at the foot of the bed, only for it to vanish the moment they move. Some describe feeling the bed dip, as if someone invisible had sat down beside them. Others recount a suffocating pressure that makes breathing difficult, as though the air itself grows heavy with sorrow. The cottage's parlor, though charming by day, carries its own share of unsettling stories. Guests have described sitting quietly in the room, only to hear the distinct creak of footsteps crossing the hardwood floor. When they rise to investigate, the room is always empty, yet the sound persists as if someone or something walks just out of sight. Doors open and close with no explanation, sometimes with such force that the vibrations rattled the windows. Cold drafts sweep through rooms that have no open windows or doors, leaving visitors shivering in the middle of summer. Perhaps the most chilling reports come from those who describe the sensation of being watched. Many who stay in the cottage say they feel eyes following them from the moment they arrive. Some recount standing at the kitchen sink and feeling a presence behind them, so palpable they are certain someone is there. Yet when they turn, there is nothing but empty space. One guest recalled hearing a whisper directly in her ear, though she was alone in the cottage at the time. Paranormal investigators have flocked to the site, drawn by its reputation as one of Santa Cruz's most haunted dwellings. Equipment often picks up inexplicable activity, electronic voice phenomena, in which faint voices answer questions, unexplained spikes in electromagnetic fields. One team even claimed to capture the image of a small girl reflected in a window pane, though no children were present during their investigation. Not all experiences at the cottage are terrifying, however. Some describe the spirits as more melancholy than malevolent. Guests have reported the faint scent of lavender drifting through the halls, believed to be linked to the schoolteacher who once lived there and was known for wearing lavender perfume. Others say they hear soft humming, like a lullaby sung by a mother to a child, a sound that is strangely calming despite its ghostly origin. Still, the atmosphere of the cottage remains undeniably eerie. Its blend of charm and darkness leaves an impression on nearly everyone who visits. By daylight, it may appear like a picturesque piece of Santa Cruz history, a relic of the Victorian era preserved with care. But when night falls and the ocean wind rattles the shutters, the house transforms into something else entirely, a place where the past seems unwilling to release its grip. The haunted cottage continues to be a point of fascination for ghost hunters, historians, and thrill-seekers alike. Some come hoping to encounter the spirits firsthand, while others are drawn simply by the stories. Regardless of intent, few leave without carrying some memory of the strange and unexplainable. Whether it is the sound of footsteps in an empty room, the flicker of light where none should be, or the heavy feeling of unseen eyes in the dark, the cottage ensures that its presence is never forgotten. In Santa Cruz, where ocean breezes carry whispers through the trees and the fog lingers like a shroud, the haunted cottage stands as a reminder that beauty and darkness often intertwine. Behind its inviting exterior lies a place where history lives on, not only in the walls and woodwork, but in the spirits that refuse to leave. And for those brave enough to step inside, the cottage offers an unforgettable experience, one that lingers long after the door has closed behind them. In the rolling hills of Sonoma, known today for its sprawling vineyards and world-class wines, There stands an old farmhouse that has captured the imagination of locals and visitors alike. Weathered by time, its wooden beams and faded paint seem to whisper the memories of lives long past. Though it looks like any other rustic farmhouse from the outside, those who dare to spend the night within its walls tell stories that hint at a darker, supernatural presence lingering inside. The farmhouse was built in the late 1800s, when Sonoma was still a rugged agricultural community. Families worked the land with grit and determination, often facing hardships that left lasting scars. Records suggest that the farmhouse once belonged to a family who endured tragedy after tragedy. Some whispered that illness, financial ruin, and even untimely deaths plagued the property. The weight of this sorrow seems to cling to the building, staining its very foundation. Visitors who step inside often describe a powerful sense of unease, as though the house itself is aware of their presence. The creak of the floorboards is sharper here, and the air carries a heaviness that presses down on the chest. Even in daylight, shadows seem to linger too long, moving just out of sight as if avoiding a direct gaze. Guests have claimed that the moment they cross the threshold, they feel as if unseen eyes are watching them, tracking their every movement from the corners of the dimly lit rooms. One of the most frequently reported experiences is the sound of footsteps echoing across the farmhouse at night. Guests recount lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, as the distinct rhythm of boots pacing along the wooden floors reverberates through the hallways. The footsteps seem deliberate, heavy, and purposeful, as if someone is patrolling the house. Yet when the noise is investigated, the rooms are always empty. Doors, too, have a mind of their own. They swing open slowly, as if inviting guests into forbidden spaces, or slam shut with enough force to rattle the windows. Many visitors have reported waking in the middle of the night to the sound of doors opening, only to find their bedroom door wide ajar despite having locked it before bed. Some have even claimed that unseen hands tugged on the handle as though trying to force entry. Perhaps the most unnerving experiences, however, are the encounters with the unseen. Several guests have reported feeling a cold, clammy hand brush against their skin while they were alone in a room. Others describe the sensation of someone standing just behind them, so close they can almost feel breath on their neck, only to turn and find nothing but emptiness. One visitor recounted how, while reading in the living room, she felt a distinct pressure on the sofa cushion beside her, as if someone had just sat down. The farmhouse's history seems to echo through these paranormal events. Locals whisper that the spirits of the original family never truly left. Some believe a mother and her children who succumbed to illness are among those who haunt the home, their presence marked by the faint sound of weeping that occasionally drifts through the upstairs bedrooms. Others tell of a stern patriarch whose footsteps are said to be the heavy ones heard pacing at night, his spirit still overseeing the home he once ruled. Adding to the mystery, paranormal investigators who have visited the farmhouse claim to have recorded electronic voice phenomena. When asking questions aloud, they later discovered faint replies captured on their equipment, whispers saying, "Leave, help me," and even the chilling phrase, "We are still here." Cold spots appear throughout the house, even during warm summer evenings, and electromagnetic sensors often spike in empty rooms. Despite its reputation, the farmhouse retains a magnetic charm. Its rustic exterior and pastoral surroundings give it the appearance of a storybook home. And for many, that charm is exactly what lures them in. But behind its picturesque facade lies an atmosphere thick with energy that defies explanation. Some visitors find the experience exhilarating, drawn to the thrill of the unknown. Others leave shaken, swearing never to return. Neighbors, too, have their own stories. They say the windows of the farmhouse sometimes glow with light long after guests have departed, as if unseen occupants still roam the halls. On moonlit nights, figures have been spotted moving across the upstairs rooms, silhouetted against the curtains. Farmers working nearby fields have reported hearing screams and laughter carried on the wind. Though the house stood empty at the time, the haunted farmhouse in Sonoma stands today as more than just an old structure. It is a place where history, sorrow, and the supernatural converge. Its walls, weathered but strong, seem to guard secrets of lives cut short, of heartbreak and unfinished business. For those who enter, it offers an unforgettable experience, whether of fear, fascination, or both. Perhaps that is why so many continue to visit, despite the warnings. The allure of the farmhouse lies not only in its eerie reputation, but in its ability to remind us of the thin veil between the living and the dead. Every creak, whisper, and shadow challenges the mind to question what is real and what lingers beyond explanation. Perched on a hill overlooking San Diego, the haunted castle is one of the city's most unusual and unsettling landmarks. Built in the early 1900s by a wealthy eccentric who longed to bring a touch of medieval Europe to Southern California. The castle is a blend of grandeur and gloom, with its towering stone walls, stained glass windows, and spiraling staircases. It looks as though it were plucked straight from a Gothic fairy tale. But behind the romantic architecture lies a chilling reputation, one that has earned the castle its place as one of San Diego's most haunted sites. From the very beginning, the castle seemed marked by tragedy. The original builder, a retired businessman, poured his fortune into creating a place of beauty and solitude. Yet shortly after construction was completed, his wife died suddenly under mysterious circumstances within its walls. Local whispers claim she fell from one of the upper balconies, though others suggest a more sinister end. Whatever the truth, her death cast a shadow over the estate, and visitors today often claim to see a woman in a flowing gown drifting silently through the corridors, her form dissolving into mist. When approached, guests who have stayed overnight report a heavy atmosphere that settles over the castle once night falls. The cheerful California sun disappears, and the interior seems to transform. Shadows stretch unnaturally across the stone walls, and the air grows cold, far colder than the mild San Diego night should allow. Many describe hearing the echo of footsteps pacing across empty hallways, as though unseen sentinels still guard the castle's secrets. Doors have been known to swing open and shut on their own, their iron hinges creaking in protest, while faint whispers travel through the stairwells, just beyond comprehension. One of the most chilling areas is the grand dining hall. A massive oak table still dominates the room, surrounded by high-backed chairs. Visitors who linger here late at night claim to hear the faint clinking of glasses and hushed voices, as though a long-forgotten banquet continues behind the veil of the living and the dead. On more than one occasion, guests have reported the sound of laughter that quickly turns into sobbing, filling the air before vanishing just as suddenly. Some say it is the voice of the lady of the house, mourning the life she lost so tragically. The bedrooms of the castle also hold their share of unease. Guests sleeping in the master suite have been startled awake by the sensation of someone sitting on the edge of the bed. When the covers are pulled back, there is no one there. Yet the imprint of a body can sometimes be seen pressed into the mattress. Others have awakened to find the curtains swaying violently, though the windows remain tightly shut. Perhaps most unnerving of all are the reports of a shadowy figure standing at the foot of the bed, watching silently until it fades into the darkness. The castle's tower is another hotspot for paranormal activity. The spiral staircase that winds to the top has given many visitors the feeling of being followed. People describe hearing footsteps directly behind them, matching their pace step for step, only to find the staircase empty when they turn. At the top, where the view of the city stretches wide, some claim to see fleeting shapes darting across the battlements, silhouettes that vanish the moment they are noticed. The legend holds that these spirits belong to workers who died during construction, their accidents covered up to preserve the castle's image. Even outside, the grounds are not free from mystery. The gardens, once meticulously maintained, have taken on an eerie quality in the moonlight. Guests strolling among the stone fountains and ivy-draped arches often feel a sudden drop in temperature, accompanied by the unmistakable sense of being watched. Strange lights have been seen flitting between the trees, like lanterns carried by invisible hands. Dogs brought onto the property are said to bark and whine uncontrollably, refusing to enter certain areas. Paranormal investigators who have explored the haunted castle have gathered compelling evidence of its reputation. Recordings have captured disembodied voices, including one that clearly whispered, "Leave," during a midnight session in the dining hall. Cameras left overnight have picked up strange orbs of light and fleeting shadows crossing the halls. Perhaps most disturbing are the sudden malfunctions of electronic equipment. Batteries draining within minutes and devices refusing to work until removed from the property. Despite, or perhaps because of its haunted reputation, the castle has become a destination for thrill seekers and ghost hunters alike. Its mix of medieval romance and spectral legend makes it irresistible to those who seek the unknown. Each guest seems to leave with their own story, whether it's a fleeting shadow in the hallway, a phantom touch on the shoulder, or the bone-deep chill that lingers long after leaving. The haunted castle of San Diego is more than a curiosity, is a place where the past refuses to rest, where tragedy and mystery weave together into an atmosphere both beautiful and terrifying. Those who dare to cross its threshold often find themselves forever changed, carrying with them the memory of a night spent in the company of something unseen. For while the city bustles beyond its walls, the castle remains frozen in time, echoing with the footsteps of spirits who never left. The Haunted Hotel in Sacramento stands as a relic of California's gold rush past, its weathered facade and Victorian elegance masking a history steeped in tragedy, mystery, and whispers from beyond the grave. Once a bustling stopover for miners, travelers, and politicians seeking fortune and opportunity in the mid-1800s. The hotel has lived through fires, floods, violence, and heartbreak. Today, it has been restored to retain its old-world charm. But guests who stay overnight quickly learn that its history has not rested easily. The shadows of its past linger in hallways, guest rooms, and the grand lobby, weaving a tapestry of ghostly encounters that has made the Haunted Hotel in Sacramento one of the most infamous paranormal locations in the state. Visitors often remark on the atmosphere the moment they step inside, that though elegant, seems to hold an air of heaviness, as though the building itself remembers the countless lives that have passed through its walls. Ornate chandeliers flicker unexpectedly, even when no draft or electrical issue can be found. Antique mirrors reflect fleeting figures that vanish when one turns their head. The sound of footsteps echo across the creaky wooden floors, but when investigated, no one is ever there. For those who are sensitive to the paranormal, the sensation of being watched begins the instant they check in and rarely leaves until they depart. The most frequently reported spirit is believed to be that of a woman named Clara, a young performer who stayed at the hotel in the 1870s. According to legend, Clara traveled with a small theater troupe that often entertained miners and wealthy businessmen. One night, after a particularly successful performance, she returned to her room only to vanish without a trace. Some claimed she ran away with a lover. Others whispered darker theories involving jealous rivals or foul play. Her body was never found. Guests staying in the room where she once resided have reported waking in the middle of the night to see a woman in a flowing white dress standing at the foot of the bed, her eyes full of sadness. Some have even heard faint singing drifting through the air, as though Clara is still rehearsing for an audience that never came. Another commonly reported spirit is believed to belong to a gambler known simply as Red Jack. Historical accounts tell of a man fitting this description: fiery hair, sharp temper, and a love for whiskey, who frequented the hotel in the 1850s. After losing an enormous sum of money during a poker game, he stormed into his room, vowing revenge on those who had bested him. When the staff broke down his door, Red Jack was dead, his pistol still in his hand. To this day, guests claim to hear the sound of dice rolling across tables and the faint rustle of playing cards in empty rooms. Some even say they've encountered a red-haired man at the bar, only to watch him vanish before their eyes. Perhaps the most chilling accounts, however, are tied to the grand staircase in the lobby. Staff and guests alike report seeing a shadowy figure descending the steps late at night. Sometimes it is described as a man in a long black coat, other times as a faceless entity cloaked in darkness. What makes this apparition particularly unsettling is that those who encounter it often describe a sudden drop in temperature, followed by an overwhelming sense of dread, only for their phone to malfunction and later show a distorted image filled with streaks of light and a faint human outline. The hotel staff, while accustomed to the stories, admit that even they experience strange occurrences they cannot explain. Housekeepers often refuse to clean certain rooms alone. REPORTING. Objects moving on their own, or hearing voices whispering in their ears. The night staff, in particular, speak of hearing doors slammed shut in empty hallways, or catching glimpses of shadows darting across the lobby. Despite the unsettling nature of these events, most agree that the spirits are more mischievous than malevolent, restless remnants of a past that refuses to fade. Paranormal investigators who have visited the haunted hotel in Sacramento have captured chilling evidence. EVPs, or electronic voice phenomena, have recorded disembodied voices calling out names, including Clara and Jack. Thermal cameras have picked up unexplained cold spots that move as though following investigators. On one occasion, a team recorded the sound of faint laughter in an empty room, only to find later that no one else was on the floor at the time. Photographs often reveal orbs, streaks of light, or mist-like figures standing beside unsuspecting guests. For travelers, the haunted hotel is both a destination and an experience. By day, it offers historic charm, fine dining, and a glimpse into Sacramento's vibrant past. By night, however, the building transforms into something else entirely. The creak of footsteps, the chill of an unseen presence, the flicker of lights in darkened hallways all remind visitors that this is not merely a hotel, but a living, breathing relic of history, one that carries with it echoes of lives long gone, yet not forgotten. Those who stay overnight often leave with stories of their own. Some recount being touched by invisible hands while they slept. Others remember waking to whispers in the darkness. Many leave with the uneasy certainty that while they checked in alone, they were never truly alone. The haunted hotel in Sacramento continues to draw thrill seekers, historians, and ghost hunters alike, offering them not just a night's rest, but an encounter with the unknown, an encounter that lingers long after the doors close and the city outside goes quiet. In the heart of Los Angeles, surrounded by palm trees and glittering city lights, stands a mansion that has become as famous for its eerie atmosphere as it is for its grandeur, known locally as the Haunted Mansion. This sprawling estate was built in the early 1900s by a wealthy oil tycoon who sought to make it one of the most impressive residences in the city. From its high arched windows to the sweeping staircase in the entryway, the mansion drips with old-world elegance. Yet time and tragedy have left behind more than just architectural beauty. According to countless guests, the mansion has become a home not only for the living, but also for restless spirits that linger within its halls. Visitors to the haunted mansion often remark first on the unsettling silence that greets them. Even in the middle of bustling Los Angeles, the property seems to exist in its own strange bubble, where the usual sounds of traffic and city life fade into an unnatural stillness. That silence is broken at night by phantom footsteps that echo through the halls when no one is there. Some guests have described the sound of boots pacing slowly across the hardwood floors, while others swear they've heard the distinct tap of high-heeled shoes following them as they climb the staircase. Many claim that when they turn to look, the hallway is completely empty, though the sound continues, appearing in seemingly random areas of the mansion. One guest described entering the lavish dining room, only to feel a sudden chill, so strong it left her breath visible in the air, despite the warm California night outside. In other instances, guests have walked through a room and felt icy air wrap around them like an unseen presence standing directly in their path. Paranormal investigators who have visited the mansion suggest these temperature drops indicate areas where spiritual activity is strongest, and many believe that the entities here are trying to make their presence known. But it isn't just footsteps or cold drafts that disturb visitors. The sensation of being watched is perhaps the most unnerving experience of all. Several guests have reported the feeling of eyes on them, particularly when exploring the upper floors. The long hallways, lined with ornate mirrors and portraits of the mansion's original owners, seemed to amplify the effect. Guests often describe a prickling sensation at the back of their necks, a weight in the air that makes them believe they are not alone. A number of people have even claimed to see shadowy figures reflected in the mirrors, standing just behind them, only to turn and find nothing there. The history of the mansion provides some chilling context for these supernatural accounts. The oil tycoon who built the house lived there with his wife and 2 children, but the family was struck by misfortune. His wife reportedly passed away in the master bedroom after a sudden illness, and shortly after, one of his children drowned in the mansion's pool. These tragedies left the tycoon a broken man, and though he continued to live in the mansion for several years, his decline was well documented by locals. When he eventually passed, the house sat empty for decades, its grand halls gathering dust and whispers of hauntings. When the property was restored in more recent years, workers reported their own disturbing encounters. Tools went missing, only to turn up in impossible places, like locked closets no one had opened. Doors slammed shut without warning, and in one case, a construction worker claimed to have seen a woman in an old-fashioned gown standing at the top of the staircase. She disappeared the moment he called out to her, leaving only the faint scent of roses lingering in the air. Those who have stayed overnight tell stories of even more intense encounters. Some have woken in the middle of the night to the sound of music playing faintly in the distance, as though an unseen party is taking place somewhere within the house. Others have felt the weight of a hand pressing against their shoulder while they slept, jolting them awake in terror. Guests who stayed in the master bedroom, where the tycoon's wife passed away, often report dreams so vivid and unsettling that they wake in tears, certain that someone was in the room with them. Paranormal investigators armed with cameras, EVP recorders, and thermal sensors have tried to capture evidence of the mansion's hauntings. Many claim to have recorded disembodied voices, including whispers calling their names and faint cries echoing through the halls. One investigation even reported a shadow figure crossing a hallway on camera. Though, when the footage was reviewed, the figure appeared unnaturally tall and moved in a way that no living person could. Despite its eerie reputation, the Haunted Mansion in Los Angeles has become a popular spot for those seeking a brush with the supernatural. Its combination of historic beauty and chilling atmosphere makes it an unforgettable experience, drawing in curious travelers, ghost hunters, and thrill-seekers alike. Yet many who leave the mansion admit that while they came seeking a thrill, they left with something far more unsettling, lingering sense that the spirits of the mansion are not content to remain behind its walls. Some visitors claim that even after returning home, they still hear phantom footsteps at night or feel the same cold drafts brush past them, as though something from the mansion followed them back. Whether it is the sorrowful spirits of the original family or something darker tied to the land itself, the Haunted Mansion stands as one of Los Angeles's most mysterious and unnerving locations. Its beauty hides a history of tragedy, and within its walls, echoes of the past refuse to be silenced. Those brave enough to stay quickly learn that in this mansion, the line between history and haunting is perilously thin. In the heart of San Francisco, where Victorian and Edwardian homes line the sloping streets, stands a house that has long been whispered about in hushed tones. Locals call it simply the Haunted House, a term that carries both respect and fear. Unlike other properties in the city, this one is not remembered for its grandeur, nor for its wealthy past owners, but for the unsettling energy that seems to cling to its walls like a shadow that refuses to fade. The house, with its intricate woodwork and towering windows, was built in the late 1800s, a time when San Francisco was flourishing after the gold rush. Families came and went, each leaving behind their own stories. But it was the tragic accounts that took root and grew into the legends that surround the property today. Neighbors speak of a young woman who was said to have thrown herself from the top floor after a failed love affair. Others recall whispers of a child who succumbed to illness within the house's walls, his cries never ceasing even after death. Whether true or not, these stories have fueled the reputation of the home as a dwelling for restless souls. Guests who have stayed inside speak of the same unnerving experiences. Many claim the moment they step across the threshold, they are overcome by an unnatural chill, as though the house exhales cold air from a place deep within its foundation. Lights flicker for no reason, and even when modern electricians have inspected the wiring, nothing is ever found amiss. Footsteps are the most commonly reported phenomenon. They echo through the hallways at night, soft and deliberate, as if someone unseen is pacing just out of sight. These sounds often come from the upper floor, even when guests are certain no one else is staying in the house. Doors also seem to have a life of their own. Guests describe hearing the creak of hinges and the steady thump of doors shutting when the house is otherwise silent. Some have seen doors swing open slowly, as if beckoning them into rooms that they would rather avoid. Others have woken in the night to find their bedroom doors ajar, despite swearing they had locked them before bed. But perhaps the most chilling reports come from those who describe the sensation of being watched. Guests say it starts subtly, like the feeling of someone standing behind them while they read or prepare a meal in the kitchen. Over time, it grows into something more oppressive, like eyes following them with every movement. An unseen gaze that seems both curious and heavy with intent. Some visitors describe turning sharply, expecting to see someone there, only to find the room empty. Yet the feeling never fades, and for some, it becomes too overwhelming to bear. One particularly unnerving account comes from a guest who stayed in the upstairs bedroom. She reported waking in the middle of the night to the sound of soft sobbing. At first she thought it was coming from outside the window, but when she listened closely, she realized it was inside the room with her. Terrified, she sat up, only to see a shadow-like figure crouched near the corner. It was the size of a child, its form indistinct but its presence undeniable. Within seconds, the figure dissolved into the darkness, and the sobbing ceased, leaving her trembling and sleepless until morning. Others have claimed to see fleeting apparitions, glimpses of a woman in a long dress disappearing down the staircase, or a pale figure peering out from the attic window when no one is there. Paranormal investigators who have entered the house bring their equipment, and while some leave with little more than an uneasy feeling, others capture unexplained voices on recorders. One recording, replayed many times, seems to contain a faint whisper that repeats the word "stay" over and over again. Another caught what sounded like a child's laugh, though no children were present at the time. Despite the unsettling experiences, the haunted house in San Francisco continues to draw curious visitors. Some are thrill seekers, hoping for a ghostly encounter, while others are skeptics determined to disprove the legends. Yet time and again, even the skeptics leave with stories they can't fully explain. One man, a firm non-believer, admitted that while he never saw a ghost, he awoke in the night to the distinct feeling of someone sitting on the edge of his bed. The mattress dipped beneath invisible weight, and though he reached for a lamp, by the time the light filled the room, the pressure was gone. The house itself seems to wear its history openly, its creaking floors and faded walls bearing the weight of countless stories, whether haunted by actual spirits or by the energy of grief and loss that accumulated over generations. It remains a place that refuses to be ordinary. Its charm draws people in, but its atmosphere reminds them quickly that they are never truly alone inside. In a city alive with movement, noise, and modern progress, the haunted house of San Francisco stands as a stark reminder of the past. Its echoes of footsteps, spectral figures, and unseen eyes watching from the dark ensure that its legend will never fade. Those who enter may leave with chills, with fear, or with fascination, but none walk away untouched by the lingering presence that inhabits the old house on the hill, tucked away in the heart of Napa Valley. Known today for its sprawling vineyards and award-winning wines, stands a quaint yet imposing inn whose past is as rich and layered as the soil beneath the vines. The inn, with its Victorian-style gables and rustic wooden porches, exudes a certain timelessness that draws visitors from around the world. By day, it is charming, a picture-perfect retreat for travelers eager to sip wine and bask in the rolling hills of Northern California. But when the sun sets and the valley falls quiet, the inn takes on another life entirely. Whispers from the past seep through its walls, and shadows lengthen in ways that unsettle even the bravest guests. Locals call it the Haunted Inn of Napa, and for decades, it has carried with it a reputation for supernatural activity, unlike any other lodging in the region. The inn was originally constructed in the late 1800s, when Napa was a much different place, a rugged, agricultural settlement that was just beginning to shape itself into the vineyard capital it is today. The property was owned by a wealthy landowner who intended the house to be both a family residence and a guest stop for traveling merchants and winemakers. But the family's history is said to be plagued with tragedy. Within its walls, illnesses claimed the lives of 2 children, and one account speaks of the patriarch dying suddenly in the dining room after a heated argument with a business partner. These deaths, combined with the inn's later history as a boarding house during the Prohibition era, are believed to have left behind an echo of restless energy that has never fully quieted. Guests who check into the inn often report eerily similar experiences. The most common claim is the sound of footsteps in the upstairs hallway during the night, even when no other guests are booked. The creak of old wooden floorboards can be heard pacing back and forth, as if someone unseen is still patrolling the upper level. Many describe the sound as slow and deliberate, almost as though the entity is checking the rooms one by one. On some occasions, guests have even reported the sound stopping just outside their door, lingering for moments before fading into silence. Those who have dared to open the door have found nothing but an empty hall, dimly lit by antique sconces. Doors also seem to have a life of their own within the haunted inn. Visitors have reported hearing the distinct click of locks turning, only to discover their door firmly shut when they try to leave. Others have watched in disbelief as doors swing open slowly, as though pushed by an invisible hand. These occurrences are especially common in the rooms that date back to the original construction of the building, with many believing that these are the spaces most saturated with the inn's turbulent history. The sensation of being watched is another phenomenon nearly every guest mentions. Visitors often describe the uneasy feeling that eyes are following them from the corners of rooms or from the darkened hallways. Some claim to have woken in the middle of the night with the certainty that someone was standing at the foot of their bed. One couple staying in the inn's honeymoon suite reported waking simultaneously, both certain that a shadowy figure was watching from the corner of the room. When they turned on the light, the figure had vanished, leaving only the cold press of fear in its place. Perhaps the most unnerving reports, however, involve direct apparitions. Over the years, guests and staff alike have claimed to see a woman dressed in period clothing gliding silently through the dining room. Descriptions vary slightly. Some say she is wearing a long white gown. Others insist on a deep blue dress, but all agree that her presence is accompanied by an overwhelming sadness. Many believe she is the spirit of the landowner's wife, mourning the loss of her children who died within the house. Others speculate she is one of the women who lived here during Prohibition, possibly a hostess forced into a hard life when the inn doubled as an underground speakeasy. Whatever the truth, her presence has become the inn's most famous legend, with many guests booking rooms in hopes of catching a glimpse of her. Staff members, who know the inn more intimately than anyone else, often share stories of their own. One longtime housekeeper insists that linens will be pulled from freshly made beds moments after she leaves the room. A former night clerk recalled hearing muffled voices holding a conversation in the parlor, though he was certain he had checked in the last of the guests hours earlier. These experiences have cemented the inn's reputation, ensuring that even skeptics approach its hallways with a touch of hesitation. Despite its haunted reputation, or perhaps because of it, the Haunted Inn remains one of Napa's most beloved accommodations. Travelers fascinated by the paranormal often flock here, drawn not only by the wine country beauty, but also by the thrill of spending a night where the veil between the living and the dead seems unusually thin. The inn's owners have leaned into its ghostly lore, offering late-night ghost tours and recounting the legends that make the house so unique. Yet they also preserve its charm, ensuring that the polished wooden banisters, antique chandeliers, and warm fireplaces remain inviting for those who come simply to escape the outside world. perched among the picturesque coastal beauty of Santa Barbara. There exists a charming bed and breakfast that holds more than just vintage furniture and seaside hospitality. Known for its cozy rooms, delicate antique and ivy-draped exterior, this B&B has been the subject of whispers for decades. While guests come for the charm, many leave with stories of the unexplainable, for behind its welcoming facade lies a history steeped in mystery and restless spirits. The building itself dates back to the late 1800s, when it was first erected as a large private residence for a wealthy shipping merchant. Over the years, it changed hands several times, eventually transforming into a bed and breakfast in the mid-20th century. On the surface, it became a haven for travelers seeking the serenity of Santa Barbara's coast. Yet beneath that warm hospitality lingered an energy that countless visitors have felt, an invisible presence that never truly left the house. Many of the legends surrounding the B&B trace back to its earliest days as a private home. One of the most enduring tales tells of the original owner's daughter, who is said to have died tragically in her teenage years. Guests and staff alike have claimed to see the fleeting image of a young girl in Victorian clothing drifting across the hallways late at night. She is most often spotted near the second-floor staircase, where the sound of soft, hurried footsteps has startled many. Some describe feeling a rush of cold air as she passes, while others report the distinct sensation of being watched as they ascend the stairs alone. The rooms themselves carry their own share of chilling accounts. One guest staying in the Rose Suite awoke to the sound of a music box playing faintly in the middle of the night. Though no such object was in the room, another traveler reported waking up to see the figure of a woman seated at the foot of the bed, only for her to vanish when the light was turned on. In several rooms, visitors have told of doors opening and closing without explanation, as if unseen hands were at work. Even the innkeepers, though hesitant to share too much for fear of scaring away guests, admit that they have heard footsteps echoing through empty hallways long after everyone has gone to bed. Perhaps the most unsettling location in the B&B is its parlor. A cozy space by day, adorned with vintage armchairs and a glowing fireplace, it becomes a place of uncanny encounters when night falls. Guests have reported hearing the faint sound of whispers when no one else was present, as if invisible conversations drifted through the air. One group claimed they saw the rocking chair by the fire moving on its own, gently swaying as though someone had just risen from it. A staff member recalled entering the parlor late one evening, only to feel a sudden heaviness in the room, a sensation so oppressive she described it as if the walls themselves were closing in around her. Despite the frightening stories, there is something deeply compelling about the haunted B&B. For some, the idea of staying where history lingers so vividly is irresistible. Paranormal enthusiasts flock to the inn, hoping to catch a glimpse of its famous apparitions or record the strange sounds that so many others have described. Ghost hunting groups have conducted investigations on the property, capturing unexplained audio recordings of footsteps, knocks, and even what sounds like a child's laughter echoing faintly in the background. A few photographs have revealed mysterious shapes in the windows, dark silhouettes in rooms that were empty at the time. The innkeepers, while acknowledging the stories, choose to embrace the supernatural reputation rather than deny it. They maintain that the spirits are not harmful, but instead tied to the history of the house itself. Perhaps unable or unwilling to move on, many guests even describe their encounters not as terrifying, but strangely comforting, as if the presence they felt was simply a part of the inn's soul, woven into its very fabric. For some, it is the notion of sharing a space with the past that makes the experience unforgettable. Still, there are others who leave with a very different impression. Guests have checked out early after sleepless nights filled with strange noises and the overwhelming sense of being watched. One couple reported waking at 3 a.m. to the sound of someone breathing heavily in their room, though they were alone. Another visitor swore she felt the bed shift as though someone had lain down beside her, though the sheets were untouched when she opened her eyes. These unsettling moments have left their mark, with stories passing from guest to guest, each adding to the reputation of the inn as one of Santa Barbara's most haunted places. The haunted bed and breakfast is a place where time seems to blur, where the line between past and present feels dangerously thin. The warm hospitality and historic charm welcome visitors during the day. But when the sun sets, the true character of the house emerges. Whether it is the restless spirit of a lost child, the lingering echoes of past residents, or something far older and more mysterious, the B&B has become a place where the supernatural is impossible to ignore. Guests arrive expecting a peaceful retreat, but many leave with stories they will never forget, stories of shadows in the night, whispers in the silence, and a haunting presence that refuses to let go. Perched against the breathtaking backdrop of Lake Tahoe, surrounded by towering pines and the tranquil shimmer of the lake, stands a rustic lodge that has become a destination for more than just nature lovers. While it offers cozy fireplaces, timber-bird architecture, and a view that seems like something out of a postcard, it also carries with it an unsettling legacy. For decades, this lodge has been whispered about in hushed tones by locals and travelers alike, rumored to be haunted by the spirits of its former inhabitants. Those who stay here often find that the peaceful wilderness outside contrasts starkly with the strange and unexplainable phenomena that take place within its walls. From the moment guests step into the lodge, the building seems to exude a peculiar energy. The wooden floors creak underfoot, not unusual for a structure of its age, but many swear the sounds continue even when no one is walking. Footsteps echo through the hallways at night, measured and deliberate, as though someone unseen is pacing just out of view. Doors open and close without explanation, some with such force that guests jolt awake in their rooms. These occurrences are so consistent that many visitors arrive already half expecting them, though nothing quite prepares a person for the experience of being truly watched in silence. One of the most common reports comes from guests staying in the upper floors of the lodge. They describe the sensation of a presence lingering near their beds while they sleep, only to find the room empty. A few visitors even claim to have seen a figure, a tall man in clothing from another century, often described as wearing a wool coat and a hat, standing at the foot of their beds before vanishing into thin air. The lodge's history offers chilling hints about the origins of these disturbances. In the early 1900s, when the lodge first began welcoming visitors, the isolation of the area meant that winters could be brutally unforgiving. Records tell of travelers stranded during heavy snowstorms, forced to remain in the lodge for weeks at a time, their food stores dwindling, tempers flaring, and the icy grip of desperation setting in. Local legend holds that one such winter brought tragedy when a man who had taken refuge at the lodge never left. Some say he was lost to the snow after venturing out for help. Others believe he met a darker fate inside the lodge's walls, his restless spirit still bound to the place. One chilling story recounted by staff involves the cleaning crew. On more than one occasion, housekeepers have entered rooms to find them in complete disarray, furniture overturned, sheets torn from beds when the rooms had been locked and unoccupied for days. Cameras placed in the hallways captured nothing unusual, yet the disturbances continued. Several employees admitted that they refused to enter the upper floors alone after dark. Guests, too, have had their share of harrowing encounters. A couple once reported hearing laughter in the lounge late at night, long after the staff had gone home and the other guests were asleep. When they went to investigate, the room was completely dark and empty. Yet the faint sound of clinking glasses persisted, as if an invisible gathering was still underway. Another visitor described sitting by the fire in the main room and feeling someone sit down in the chair beside them. When they turned, there was no one there, though the seat cushion bore the distinct impression of a body pressing down. Some of the most unnerving accounts come from those who claim to have glimpsed spectral figures reflected in the lodge's antique mirrors. A woman brushing her hair one evening reported seeing not just her own reflection, but another face, a pale, hollow-eyed figure, hovering just behind her shoulder. She spun around, but the room was empty. Shaken, she left the lodge the very next morning, vowing never to return. Skeptics argue that the isolation of the lodge, combined with the eerie silence of the surrounding wilderness, amplifies the human imagination. The creaking wood, the moan of wind through the trees, and the flickering shadows of firelight all conspire to play tricks on tired travelers' minds. Yet, even the most rational of visitors admit there is something about the lodge that resists easy explanation. The stories persist, passed down from one generation of guests to the next, each new encounter adding another layer to the building's supernatural lore. Despite, or perhaps because of its haunted reputation, the lodge remains a popular destination. Some come seeking comfort in the serene mountain atmosphere, while others arrive chasing the thrill of encountering the unknown. Paranormal investigators have been drawn here, setting up equipment in an attempt to capture voices, shadows, or cold spots. Though their recordings have yielded strange knocks and unexplained voices, the true source of the lodge's mysteries continues to elude explanation. For those brave enough to stay the night, the lodge offers more than just rustic charm and lakeside beauty. It offers the chance to brush against history, to feel the lingering presence of those who may never have truly left. Guests leave with their own stories, some subtle, some terrifying, all unforgettable. The Haunted Lodge at Lake Tahoe stands as a reminder that even in places of great natural beauty, the past can cling tightly, whispering its presence in footsteps across empty halls and cold breaths in the dark. Tucked away among the rugged cliffs and towering redwoods of Big Sur lies a secluded retreat that promises tranquility and escape from the bustle of modern life. Visitors come for the sweeping ocean views, the scent of salt in the air, and the serenity of being surrounded by untamed wilderness. Yet beneath its peaceful exterior, the retreat carries a history and a presence that is anything but serene. For decades, guests and staff alike have reported strange, unexplainable phenomena lending the retreat a reputation as one of Big Sur's most haunted locations. Guests who stay here often begin their experiences subtly. A soft creaking of floorboards late at night, a door that seems to close with no one near, or the fleeting sound of footsteps echoing through empty halls. Many initially write off these incidents as natural noises, old wood settling, gusts of wind rattling doors, but as the night deepens, the disturbances become harder to ignore. Several visitors have described hearing whispers in the corridors, faint at first, almost as if the house itself were attempting to speak. Others have sensed the unmistakable feeling of being watched, even in rooms where they are alone. The retreat's history offers clues to the source of its supernatural activity. The property was originally constructed in the early 1900s as a private home for a wealthy family who sought solace in Big Sur's wild landscapes. Tragedy struck when a fire swept through the retreat decades later, taking the lives of several residents. Locals say that the spirits of those who perished never left, lingering among the cliffs and hidden pathways, bound to the property by the final moments of their lives. These lingering souls are said to move through the retreat in the form of shadows, cold drafts, and sudden noises that startle even the most composed guests. Some of the most frequently reported experiences occur in the main lodge area. Guests have recounted hearing footsteps on the creaking stairs above them, though no one is present. Doors will swing open or slam shut with sudden force, and the lights sometimes flicker without explanation. One visitor described sitting in a lounge late at night, when the sound of someone walking across the room made her glance up, only to see a shadow vanish as it crossed the wall. The sensation of unseen eyes following her persisted long after the figure disappeared, leaving a chill that seemed to settle into her bones. Several guests have also reported encounters in the private cabins surrounding the lodge. A couple staying in one of the cliffside cabins awoke to find the door to their room slowly opening, even though it had been locked from the inside. Moments later, a cold breeze swept through the room, extinguishing the candle they had left burning on the bedside table. Another visitor claimed to have heard the distinct sound of someone pacing outside her window, accompanied by the faint smell of smoke and burned wood. Though no fire had occurred and the area was empty, one of the retreat's most chilling features is the long wooden hallway that connects the cabins to the main lodge. Guests describe a sensation of being drawn toward the hallway at night, even if they had no reason to walk its length. Many report the feeling of invisible hands brushing past them as they pass, the hair on the back of their necks standing on end. Some have caught glimpses of fleeting figures in the corners of their eye shapes that vanish when turned toward, leaving only the echo of footsteps behind. The natural environment surrounding the retreat seems to amplify these supernatural occurrences. Big Sur is a place of dramatic cliffs, dense forests, and ocean winds that can whip unexpectedly through the property. Some believe the spirits use the natural sounds of the wilderness to mask their own presence, allowing them to move undetected while still sending subtle warnings. Hikers along the nearby trails have reported feeling a sudden chill, as if someone unseen were walking alongside them, or hearing voices whispering in the trees when no one else is present. Despite the eerie reputation, the haunted retreat has become a destination for thrill seekers and paranormal enthusiasts. Many guests come specifically to experience the supernatural, setting up cameras, audio recorders, and other equipment in hopes of capturing evidence of the lingering spirits. While some recordings reveal nothing more than the wind in the trees, others have captured faint footsteps, doors opening without assistance, and low, indistinct voices that cannot be attributed to any guest or staff member. Even those who come seeking comfort often find themselves unsettled. There is a pervasive sense that the retreat itself remembers the tragedies of the past, that the land, the cliffs, and the buildings carry the weight of long-forgotten grief. Guests have described sudden emotional shifts, feelings of sadness, unease, or longing as if the spirits are sharing fragments of their experiences across time. Many leave the retreat with a profound impression of having brushed against a world just beyond their perception, a place where the boundary between life and death feels unusually thin. For those brave enough to stay the night, the haunted retreat offers a unique and unforgettable experience. The combination of Big Sur's natural beauty and the Lodge's haunted history creates an atmosphere unlike any other. Guests return with stories of shadowy figures, unexplained noises, and cold drafts that seem to move with intention. Whether these are manifestations of the past, echoes of tragedy, or something far more mysterious, the presence that lingers in the haunted retreat is undeniable. Visitors leave with the sense that they have stepped into a world where time and memory converge, where the past is never fully gone, and where the spirits of those who once lived, loved, and perished continue to inhabit the spaces they knew so well. In this remote corner of Big Sur, the haunted retreat stands as a testament to the enduring power of history, memory, and the supernatural, offering both wonder and fear to those who enter its doors. Nestled in the quiet streets of Santa Fe Springs stands a historic adobe home that exudes both charm and unease. Built in the early 1900s, its thick clay walls and red-tiled roof have witnessed more than a century of life, love, and tragedy. While the architecture draws visitors with its rustic beauty and period details, the house is infamous for something far less tangible: the presence of spirits who seem unwilling to leave. Guests and locals alike whisper of strange happenings, attributing them to the restless energy of a woman who reportedly died tragically within the home's walls. From the moment visitors step inside, the atmosphere can feel both welcoming and heavy. The smooth clay floors creak underfoot, but often the sounds continue even when no one is walking. Doors are known to swing open or slam shut without warning, startling even the most skeptical guests. In some rooms, a lingering chill persists, so cold that it penetrates clothing and seems to follow guests as they move from the hallway to the bedrooms. Many describe it as a presence, something more deliberate than a simple draft, as though an unseen resident is guiding or observing their movements. The courtyard is frequently cited as a hotspot for supernatural activity. Guests have reported seeing shadowy figures gliding across the adobe walls during twilight, the shapes vanishing when approached. Her presence is often strongest near the fireplace, a place that many believe holds the memories of her final moments. On cold nights, some visitors have felt a sudden brush of air across their faces or the subtle scent of wood smoke. Though no fire burns inside the adobe, the hallways often amplify unexplained sounds. Visitors have heard footsteps pacing above them, even when the upper floors are empty. Soft whispers float down the corridors, indecipherable but unmistakable in their human cadence. Others report hearing a door creak open slowly, followed by the faint scraping of furniture, only for everything to remain still when investigated. Some guests describe feeling as if they are being watched, their eyes drawn to darkened corners where no one stands. This sensation is often accompanied by a tightening in the chest, a visceral reminder that the house is far from ordinary. Several eyewitnesses have described more direct encounters with the house's spectral inhabitant. One guest, staying in a room adjacent to the courtyard, recounted sitting by the window when she saw a figure pass just beyond the glass. The woman's silhouette was delicate yet unmistakable, and though she moved as if unaware of the guest's gaze, the intensity of her presence left the observer frozen with fear. In another instance, a couple reported waking to find the bedsheets slightly pulled down, as if someone had shifted in the night. When they rose to investigate, they felt a cold hand brush past their shoulders, though the room was empty. Many of the reported experiences center around the fireplace, a focal point of the home. Visitors describe hearing murmured voices, the faint echo of conversation that seems to originate from nowhere. Some have seen objects shift slightly, books tilted on shelves, chairs moved just enough to suggest human intervention. The courtyard, too, seems alive with energy after sunset, with shadowy forms appearing between the adobe walls and the garden stone pathways. Hikers passing by have occasionally glimpsed a figure standing in the courtyard, disappearing before they can get closer. The adobe's history offers clues as to the origins of these hauntings. In the early decades of the 20th century, the house was occupied by a family known for their deep ties to the community. Tragedy struck when the woman who was believed to haunt the home died unexpectedly, her death shrouded in grief and unanswered questions. Locals say that her spirit remains bound to the house by unresolved sorrow. Over the decades, guests have come to sense that this presence is not malevolent, but instead restless, replaying memories of a life interrupted, forever lingering in the rooms she once walked. Even staff members have reported unsettling experiences. Cleaning crews and maintenance workers have heard footsteps when the adobe was empty or felt sudden drops in temperature as they moved from room to room. Some claim to have caught glimpses of a figure standing silently at the end of a hallway, vanishing when approached. Others speak of objects subtly shifting positions during the day, a reminder that the house is never truly empty. Despite its eerie reputation, the ghostly adobe draws guests who are curious or adventurous, eager to witness the unexplained firsthand. Paranormal investigators often visit, setting up cameras and audio equipment in hopes of capturing tangible proof of the supernatural. While recordings sometimes produce faint voices or unexplained shadows, the adobe retains much of its mystery, leaving witnesses with nothing but their own memories and the lingering sense that they have been touched by something beyond the ordinary. The combination of historic architecture, natural charm, and lingering spirits creates an experience unlike any other. Guests leave with stories of shadowy figures, whispering hallways, and chilling sensations. Stories that are retold and shared, adding layers to the home's haunted legacy. Whether seen in a fleeting silhouette, felt as a brush of cold air, or heard in a soft whisper, the presence of the ghostly adobe is undeniable. Visitors are reminded that some memories and some spirits never truly fade, remaining alive within the adobe walls, forever part of Santa Fe Springs' haunted history. Perched dramatically along the rocky coastline of Pacific Grove, the Victorian seaside villa is a stunning example of late 19th century architecture. Its ornate gables, intricate woodwork, and sweeping veranda offer breathtaking views of the Pacific Ocean, drawing visitors eager to experience both its beauty and its history. Yet beneath the charm and elegance, the villa holds a secret legacy, a reputation for paranormal activity that has intrigued and frightened guests for decades. Guests arriving at the villa often notice the immediate contrast between its serene exterior and the unsettling sensations reported within. The sound of the ocean waves crashing against the cliffs creates a hypnotic backdrop, but many visitors quickly realize that there is another presence alongside the natural rhythms of the sea. Phantom footsteps along the veranda have been reported numerous times, echoing in the early morning hours or late at night when the villa is empty. These steps are light yet deliberate, as if someone is pacing or keeping watch, and they often stop abruptly, leaving a haunting silence in their wake. The villa's history suggests the origin of these hauntings. Built in the late 1800s by a wealthy family, it was the beloved home of its original owner, a woman renowned for her elegance and dedication to the property. After her death, many believe her spirit lingered, unable to leave the place she loved most. Guests have reported fleeting glimpses of a figure dressed in period clothing, often seen peering through windows or standing at the edge of the veranda. These sightings are rarely accompanied by malice. Instead, they convey a sense of watchfulness, as though the woman is ensuring the villa remains cared for and remembered. Inside, the villa's ornate interiors seem to amplify its supernatural activity. Guests describe hearing soft whispers, unintelligible yet unmistakably human, drifting through the hallways. The sounds often appear to follow them from room to room, fading and returning as though carried by the ocean breeze itself. Doors have been known to open or close without explanation, and visitors frequently report sudden cold drafts that cut through the otherwise cozy rooms. These occurrences are most pronounced in the villa's upper floors, where the original owner's private chambers remain largely unchanged, preserving the ambience of a bygone era. The veranda is a particular hotspot for ghostly encounters. Visitors recount moments when they feel a presence beside them, only to turn and find the space empty. Footsteps along the wooden planks, subtle but precise, create the sensation of being accompanied by an invisible companion. Some have described the feeling of a gaze upon them, a silent awareness that follows as they walk along the cliffside, taking in the sweeping views of the ocean below. The interplay of natural beauty and supernatural presence gives the villa a unique and unnerving atmosphere, blending awe with unease. Even the villa's furnishings seem to hold echoes of the past. Guests have noticed objects subtly shifting positions, chairs slightly moved, or books tilted on shelves. The sense of being watched intensifies in rooms where personal belongings of previous residents remain, suggesting that the spirit inhabiting the villa is attentive, perhaps protective of the legacy it represents. One guest recounted a chilling experience of sitting in the library when a figure appeared in the corner of the room, standing silently for a moment before vanishing entirely, leaving only the soft sound of a chair scraping against the wooden floor. Visitors often note that the villa's location contributes to its eerie ambience. The rugged cliffs, dense coastal fog, and relentless waves create an environment where sound and shadow play tricks on the senses. Whispers carried on the wind, footsteps hidden by the roar of the surf, and shadows cast by the moonlight all enhance the feeling that the villa is alive with unseen activity. Some believe the natural energy of the coastline resonates with the lingering spirit, amplifying her presence for those attuned to the supernatural. Despite the unsettling experiences, the Victorian seaside villa remains a sought-after destination for travelers and paranormal enthusiasts alike. Many come specifically to witness the unexplained firsthand, setting up cameras, audio recorders, and other devices in hopes of capturing evidence of the spirit that reportedly haunts the property. While not every visit yields concrete proof, the majority of guests leave with stories of inexplicable sounds, fleeting figures, and an undeniable sense that they have shared the villa with someone from another time. The spirit of the villa's original owner is described as neither malevolent nor vengeful. Rather, her presence is one of quiet observation and lingering attachment to a home she cherished. Guests often leave with a mix of awe and unease, having glimpsed a world where the past and present coexist in subtle, uncanny ways. The villa seems to serve as both sanctuary and stage for these lingering echoes, preserving the memory of its first owner, while providing a thrilling experience for those willing to stay within its walls. Visitors depart the Victorian seaside villa with more than memories of its sweeping ocean views and ornate architecture. They carry with them the lingering sense of having shared the space with a presence. Just beyond perception, a figure who walks the veranda, peers through the windows, and moves silently through the halls. In Pacific Grove, where the cliffs meet the sea and history hangs in the air, the villa stands as a testament to the enduring connection between place, memory, and the unseen. Its ghostly inhabitant reminds all who enter that some spirits never truly leave, and that within these walls, the past is always present, quietly observing the world that continues to move around it. Tucked deep within the towering redwoods of Mendocino, the Redwood Retreat offers more than just breathtaking scenery and solitude. The Airbnb, surrounded by ancient trees and thick forest mist, provides guests with the kind of privacy many crave, but it also harbors a presence that is far from ordinary. Visitors have long whispered about the unsettling experiences that accompany the beauty, hinting at a layer of the property that feels alive with spirits who refuse to leave. From the moment guests approach the retreat, the air seems charged with a peculiar energy. The massive redwoods sway gently in the wind, their tops disappearing into the fog, and shadows play among the trunks in ways that feel almost intentional. Many visitors report feeling watched even before they step inside, as if the trees themselves hold the memories of those who have walked these paths before. Once inside, the villa's rustic charm contrasts sharply with the eerie sensations that seem to permeate every room. Doors swing open of their own accord, and lights flicker, despite no electrical issues. These phenomena are subtle at first, easily dismissed as quirks of an old property, but they often escalate, leaving guests uneasy and questioning what is real. In the quiet hours of the night, the Redwood Retreat seems to take on a life of its own. Footsteps echo along wooden floors when no one is moving, and the faint creak of furniture settling can sound alarmingly like someone pacing the hall. Guests often report feeling a sudden drop in temperature in certain areas, particularly near windows or doorways that look out into the dense forest. The sensation is accompanied by a prickle on the skin, a subtle but persistent reminder that the property is not empty. Some describe feeling as though unseen eyes follow them from room to room, a presence that is quietly observing yet never directly threatening. Outside, the natural surroundings amplify the supernatural. Campers and hikers near the property have glimpsed shadowy figures moving between the towering trees, fleeting shapes that vanish when approached. Faint cries, sorrowful and human, are sometimes carried on the wind, echoing through the fog and rustling leaves. Many attribute these sounds to the spirits of past occupants or travelers, lingering in a liminal space between the forest and the retreat. Visitors have recounted sitting quietly on the porch, staring into the mist, only to sense movement just beyond their Vishnu fleeting figure, standing among the redwoods before disappearing into the fog. The history of the Redwood Retreat adds to its eerie aura. Over the decades, the property has been home to families, artists, and travelers seeking solitude among the trees. Some of these occupants reportedly met untimely or tragic ends, and locals whisper that their spirits have woven themselves into the very fabric of the forest. Guests frequently describe a heavy but subtle energy, a feeling that the land remembers every joy and sorrow that has touched it. The combination of natural beauty and lingering presence creates an experience that is both enchanting and unnerving, leaving visitors acutely aware of forces beyond the ordinary. Even simple daily activities can take on a supernatural edge. Guests have reported doors closing softly behind them when no one is near, the sudden shifting of chairs, and lights flickering on and off despite all switches being off. Some have heard low, mournful whispers, like fragments of conversation carried through the halls by the wind, though no one else is present. These occurrences are often strongest in the early morning or late at night, when the forest is quiet and the fog presses close to the retreat, creating an atmosphere thick with anticipation. Many guests also recount moments of profound unease while exploring the surrounding forest. Trails lined with ferns and mossed stones sometimes conceal fleeting glimpses of human-like shadows. Some hikers have felt cold gusts brush past them without explanation, accompanied by a sense that they are not alone. Occasionally, faint crying or whispering drifts through the trees, an echo of lives once intertwined with this land. Even the sunlight filtering through the canopy seems to cast patterns that suggest figures moving just beyond sight. These moments contribute to the retreat's reputation as a place where the veil between the living and the departed feels thin, and where the past is never fully silent. Despite tour, perhaps because of its haunting reputation, the Redwood Retreat continues to attract visitors. Paranormal enthusiasts often set up cameras and audio equipment, hoping to capture glimpses of the shadows or the whispers that so many report. While tangible evidence is elusive, the accounts themselves are consistent. Doors that open on their own, lights that flicker, footsteps in empty rooms, and the ever-present sense of being watched. Even skeptical guests often leave with stories of fleeting shapes among the trees, unexplained sounds, or a lingering chill that follows them long after they have departed. Yet, for all the unease, there is a strange allure to the Redwood Retreat. The combination of natural majesty and lingering spirits creates an experience that is simultaneously beautiful and unsettling. Visitors are reminded that the forest itself is ancient, that the trees have witnessed generations of human life, and that some memories, some presences remain, long after those who first walked the land have gone. The spirits that linger here are rarely malevolent. They seem to inhabit the space as part of its memory, an invisible layer interwoven with the mist, the trees, and the fog that rolls down the hillside. Guests leave the Redwood Retreat with more than memories of the towering redwoods or the scenic Pacific coast. They carry with them a sense of having shared space with forces that are both natural and supernatural. A fleeting glimpse into lives long past. The doors that swing on their own, the lights that flicker, the shadowy figures glimpsed in the fog. All these experiences serve as reminders that some presences are woven into the land itself, forever part of the Redwood Retreat's story. In Mendocino, amid the towering trees and the whispering fog, the past and the present coexist, and the spirits who linger among the redwoods continue to watch over their ancient home, patiently awaiting those who dare to enter. California's haunted Airbnbs offer more than a place to rest. They are windows into the past, where the stories of those who lived, loved, and sometimes died continue to linger. From ghostly figures on foggy beaches to shadowy apparitions in historic Victorian homes, each location invites the brave to step into a world where the line between life and death is thin. Whether you are a thrill seeker, a paranormal enthusiast, or someone simply curious about the whispers of history, these haunted stays remind us that every creaking floorboard, flickering light, and cold gust of wind carries a story. The next time you book a getaway in California, remember, some Airbnb hosts are invisible, and some guests never really leave. So, keep your eyes open, your heart steady, and your mind ready, because the spirits of California are always watching, waiting to share their tales with those daring enough to listen.